Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We are talking to you guys today about Love is Blind. I almost said Love is Black, and it's not. But Love is Blind, and season 3, the episode 11 to reunion. If you haven't watched, spoilers ahead. We are going to break it down. So if you haven't watched, this ain't the live for what? This ain't the live for you. So we're going to discuss the latest episode as well, and just break down some of the things that we saw from each particular couple as well. You had obviously Nancy and Bartese, who also said no, but then had the family moving like the cartel to try and take Bartese out. We had obviously Zanab and Cole, and Zainab decided to tell us exactly how she felt about Cole on the altar, and then had her arena and friends and audience give her the clap of a lifetime outside of the stadium. And then we also had SK and Raven let us know that they kicked it after the wedding, that they're going strong. He grabbed all the Nyash he could on the stage, and he remained calm, cool, and collected, and let us know that he's making it work with Raven. Who's been told to have seemingly shown a softer side with SK, and I that was seconded by Zainab, but we can't trust anything she says. So, but cool. Anyway, so then obviously we also had who was the last person? That was it. That's all the couples. Oh lord, that's all the couples. It's all the couples. I mean, they did make a joke about Andrew, but anyway. So that being said, let's jump into this live talking about Love is Blind. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like it, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, when you know what it is, you got the minerals. A thought just came to me. I need to make a minerals blanket. I think that would work. Anyway, so let's get into the show. I've got two lovely people on the panel with me. You know their names, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's Seaway and it is Corey, or Black Made Media. Okay, we call him the Deep out here. Okay, you're going to find out why. All right, cool. Let's start with our first couple, and then I'll get my lovely panelists to talk about what they saw on this particular episode. So Love is Blind was a free. Let's quickly talk first and foremost. Oh, I know who I didn't mention, Alexa and Brennan. Let's get your thoughts. Alexa and Brennan from episode 11 to episode 12. We saw them get wedded, and everything seemed to be kosher. No pun intended. So who wants to go first and give us their thoughts on the situation? I also forgot that was Matt and Colleen. Colleen looked like she was held hostage. That's what I'm going to say. Anyway, Seaway, what's your thoughts on Alexa and Brennan? Talk to me.
Oh, so I'll start with the positive, right? Alexis's dad to his little speech to her reminded me just of like how my dad kind of talked to me. I just thought that was funny because he basically was like, look, I knew people would love you, but I didn't know when the crap you were going to settle down. That was definitely like my dad's speech to me. So when I heard him say that, I was like, oh my God, that was completely me. So I thought that was cute. I mean, their wedding was cute. Their vows were cute. They're kind of boring at first. But that reunion, I'm sorry, guys. I just want to fast forward past the wedding. It was nice. They both said yes, blah, blah, blah. I hate calling dudes simps, but the simp word actually applies to Brennan. Like, that word actually belongs to him. And I like when you're constantly in women's business, when you're constantly like on the women's team, you're just yes manning every single thing your girl says. Like, that's actually simping. Like, he didn't even seem like he had any identity outside of Alexis. I thought that was weird. And it was annoying because I'm just like, bro, like, do you have a personality outside of being her sidekick? Like, it was just weird to me. I did think they try to brush over kind of the issues that they're having in the house and whatever, which is fine because honestly, I can relate when you move in, which is why the people tell you do not move in with a person before you're married, because the growing pains of people moving in together, especially people who are not prone to living together, is insane. And I really did love the advice, do not let roommate problems become marriage problems. That really stuck with me. I never heard that saying before. But I understand that because sometimes a lot of stuff is roommate issues. They're not living marriage issues. So that was interesting, takeaways from that. I thought that was good advice that we can all take away. But the thing I took is that Brennan was pissing me off the entire time. He was just being a simp, all in women's business, ganging up on Cole. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. And when did Alexa become so sassy? Because I feel like she waited till she got the ring and out the pods to have all of this personality. Do y'all remember her having this personality? This is like, yeah. So those are my thoughts on them.
Yeah, so I have to agree with you on this, man. Brennan to me, he definitely was a punk. Alexa to me, I think she was rude. Them together were just an immature couple. They okay, if you're happy, you're happy, but you don't need to put no salt on everybody else's situation. I think Brennan is the definition of a simp, to be honest with you. I didn't like the fact that, don't say insane. Hold on, who are you to tell me what word I need to use? And then he said another word, and then he's like, well, that's just the same thing. It's like, whoa, bro, you checking me, but can you check your woman? When she interrupted you, did you check her? So Alexa is clearly wearing the pants in this relationship. And if that works for them, that works for them, right? But it's off-putting for me as a man to see that, to see him look so weak. He doesn't seem to have a voice for himself. Alexa said something. She said, I'm really not that bad as I was on TV, as I was portrayed on TV. You said those things, you did those things, you responded the way you responded. So how can you back out of it and say you're not that bad of a person? I think she had a moment there where she spoke about, her family that hasn't really showed, the kind of love. And I definitely can see that. They're more playful. They're more sarcastic instead of like pouring out love towards her or the rest of the family. So I can see her saying that she's never seen that before. But, I just think it was a little off-putting, just their sly comments. Other couples were talking, they were working their differences out, and they were, just throwing jabs. I heard off the camera you weren't that nice either. Off the camera, like that's not your place to say. So for me, I just think as a couple, the way they were tag teaming people, they look like a good couple. But I mean, like I said, if it works for them, it works for them. But for me, as a man looking on the side, it was off-putting.
Yeah, do you know what? I use this word. It was contemptible. It was like I hate to see men in that position. Not like, not, listen, I do don't the dynamics where a woman can be more assertive and a man is less dominant. But in this case, he was literally he was a Mitch. I'm gonna say that he was a Mitch. Okay, because literally everything that Alexa was saying, he was yesing it to. And that's my biggest issue with him. I think to a point where it felt like he had no real say. And then you on the girls team. Oh, if I would, that was me. I would be on one. I've got down on one knee and da 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 da. I could never be. I said, wait. One day when this girl decides to say something to you, you're going to wake up and smell the Kenko coffee in your nostrils. Like, you will realize that you here trying to side with her does not mean that you win her over. Like, do you know what I mean? So for me, I was like, nah, this is, for me, the word simp would come to mind. It was, bro, have your own voice. It's not the agreement with the wife that's an issue. It's have your own voice. Even if you agree with the lady, it's the fact that it was the way he was talking as if he was one of the ladies. And I was like, bro, I'm not saying you should be on code with the men. If you disagree with what the men are saying or what they're doing, I understand. You say your piece. But it's the way he did it. It was like, and then they tried to almost act like a little bit high and mighty as a couple. And I was just like, yo, I'm going to need you to chill. Okay? All right, as well. So, it was just a whole bunch of things that he was doing that was unsettling for me, and I don't know. What are you saying, Seaway?
I mean, I agree. I think y'all are touching on it was the higher than it was a better than we're better than you vibe that they were giving off. And to me, it's like you guys are acting like you're better than people and you just now moved into a house. You're like not even a year into marriage. It's like be humble. And I normally would stand for a man standing up to how women should be treated. Like normally I would have stand for him telling Cole, you know, like when you get down on one knee, you're supposed to take it seriously. That point in and of itself, like he really could have ate with that point, but it was like everything after that is women talking points. It was almost like he had embodied all of Alexis's beef. Like you've been pillow talking with your girl, and now you agree with everything that the girls are saying. When we'll get to later, Zanab will be proven to be a liar. I don't know if she's like one of these people who like hears things the way she hears it, and then she starts to believe it. Maybe she's one of those people, like because they're, you know, you're so insecure. I've seen people who are so insecure they hear things differently than the way they're actually said, and then they start to believe it as true. But regardless, now you look stupid because you've been tag teaming another man with a group of bitter women outside of Raven who shouldn't even been in the bitter women club. To be like Colleen in the sunken place minding her business. Raven shouldn't even have been in that club. And now you look like another bitter woman because stuff didn't work out. We know why Nancy mad. We know that, right? She gonna project. She's gonna project if she don't do nothing else. But it's like, sir. And I hate to say it because I love when a man like is like not afraid to stand by his woman and, you know, and stand up for women. Like on a normal basis, I would love that. But I don't like no weak man. And that to me, he gonna learn. He gonna learn. That don't get you no brownie points being weak. So
I cannot argue that a bit. I cannot argue that at all. I mean, yeah, you know, I think again, it's just so that we can clarify it for people. Like, you know what? Like again, I think it's always it's okay for a couple to be on the same page. You know, sometimes you cover each other. You know, make sure that, you know, as a team, you know, we don't show no weaknesses. But I think it's the way he went about some of the issues. You know what I mean? I think this is what, when women say some things are women's business, he was interceding into women's business and trying to give an opinion, you know, give an attitude. Like you said, Corey, earlier on as well, when he said about the whole, when Cole was saying about, you know, it's crazy to me. Why did he decide to interject at that moment to be like, yo, it's crazy to me? Like, you know, basically trying to check man to say, choose another word. You know, and that was not the time to say those words. And then he did that a second time when Cole was saying basically, I can't remember what he said, and then he was like, "Oh, great comeback," and then kind of high fiving Alexa, and I was like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like, this stuff those parts didn't actually involve you, and you're acting like you are also a woman alongside with Zainab. Did Zainab also collect you as well? Did she, I'm like, bro, I'm confused. So it required for him in that moment just to, if you agreed, you just shut it. You let them handle their business, but you were getting involved. You know, I'm guessing he heard some stuff too about from Zainab as well, and he decided to make a decision. But sometimes you just need to just, if you ain't, you know what I mean. But there's other things that we can call him a thing yes man for. Go for it.
But the crazy part is they put Matt in the position to be the only person. I think Bartese maybe said something later that said that there was no women at that thing, and he tried to Brennan tried to gloss past it because when he said, he was like, well, there was no women, but I went home early. So now you know that there was no women there. So yet again, Zanab is caught in some type of lie. That is just like a bold-faced lie. And I think Alexis is all up in it. And this could just be me guessing and checking. But a lot of the stuff that she's mad about is this body issue thing. And to me, it seems like a lot of projecting and a lot of issues ever since Cole kind of made the comment that he liked Colleen, who was clearly smaller than the both of them. And then now all of a sudden there's these body issues things. So I feel like Alexis was teaming up with Zanab on the body issue thing. Because the stuff she was going really hard at was him and the eating and everything related to the eating and her not needing, shouldn't eat. So again, nothing to do with Brennan. He really should have set this one out. And someone said he may not be weak, he's just whipped. I kind of feel like those go hand in hand. I mean, normally I would like him. I think he would be a great person to marry. He seems like a very respectful guy, taking his relationship seriously, and I would say all in all, he's probably one of the better guys on the show, if not the best guy. But personally, he was just hard to watch. He was just on my nerves. So,
you know what? Sometimes, in relationships, women find it sexy for a man to check somebody, for them to witness them check somebody. So I think that's what he kind of was going for. But he's saying that, okay, I can check somebody, but can you check your wife? And when I say check your wife, I don't mean degrade or talk down to or anything like that, but just, correct if need be, like he did for Cole. He didn't do any of that. His opportunity was when she cut him off. He was mid sentence, and she just straight cut him off. And she didn't. Sometimes when you cut someone off, you stop and you like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead. She never even did that. She did it like she does this all the time. Like when I talk, So it was one of those situations where I think he was more doing it to kind of show off in front of Alexa, but I don't know if that worked or not in his favor. I hope it didn't.
Mm-hmm. JR, talk to me. What are you saying? Alexa and Brennan.
Yeah, I thought that Brennan was trying to prove something to Alexa in that interaction, right? It was like he was trying to show some type of strength to go up against Cole and side with her. Whether it worked, it probably did, because she continued to side with Zanab over the issues. And I think what Zanab's done is, because she feels so insecure about certain things, the passion that she puts into the stories that she's telling the other ladies has kind of polluted their judgment on Cole, or influenced the way they think about him a lot, rather than how they've interacted with him personally. So yeah, he definitely was under fire. And even when Brennan was one of the people with him in one of the incidents that they were going at Cole at, Brennan tried to distance himself, talking about how many shots he had and all that type of stuff. So I think he wants to stay on Alexa's good side, rather than side with Cole. Or even if he didn't side with Cole, stay out of it if it's not his fight. But he didn't want to do that. It seems like he's just trying to prove something to her at this early stage, that he's 100% behind her.
Appreciate you. Sean, what's your thoughts to this Alexa and Brennan situation?
Well, I'm on the other end of it when it comes to Cole and Zanab, but Alexa and Brennan, yeah. I think he's held. Oh God!
Is that your own Alexa?
Yes.
You tell Alexa to calm the heck down. Don't let her tell you what to do.
She's trying to run my life too.
Good brother.
Over talking you and stuff.
Good.
Better put Alexa in her place.
Alexa, silence. So look.
That's how you
don't make any sense. She be quiet all day, like, bro, she don't talk at all. The minute I'm trying to do this Love is Blind, she want to pipe up. So she who shall not be named drives me nuts. Okay, she drives me nuts. And I just feel like, if Brennan feels like he got the prize, he got the prize. And I just feel like he's very henpecked. And I had a lot to say on Discord, mainly just he done gave up everything. He done gave up his religion. He done, just dropped everything, signing prenups, doing all this foolishness. and I hope it's all worth it. They seem happy. I guess they'll be together, running off into the sunset. But to me, that don't look like happiness. But he want to pipe up. He want to talk on her behalf. He want to tussle with the fellas. Because of her. Go off, bro. So go off into his hostagedom.
Yes, Corey, you want to say that? Go for it.
Yeah. One more thing that he did that kind of bugged me the wrong way is when they started talking about what Bartese, I think it was Bartese, did at the saloon. He was like, I don't know, man. I was drunk. He tried to stay out of that. You know what I'm saying? He tried to stay out of that interaction. Oh, don't put me in. I don't know, man. I was drunk. I was knocked out. But you would know if he was flirting with somebody else. Some things you would.
Because he would have snitched.
Exactly.
That's how you know it didn't happen, because he didn't go running back with his tail tucked trying to tell Alexis.
Exactly.
It didn't happen.
So, I'm just gonna add my 2 cents here since I came late to the party. But I tend to lean more towards the side of Cole may not have been intentionally trying to do some damage, but the damage was done. And I think that even if you look at other interviews, he admits to talking and bumping his gums a little too much. So for me, I feel like, yeah, it definitely she's adding a little spice on top of it, but I can definitely see how somebody who already starts off from a wrong place of not being giving you the understanding that they're not attracted to them, and then now here he goes. So I think all the people jumping in doesn't make sense. I think everybody should just mind their business, but I definitely think Cole done something.
Thank you, Sean. We'll get there. You can add more 2 cents to that as well. So, if any more views on Alexa or Brennan, anything else that comes to mind, any other thoughts as well, you're welcome to share before we... Yeah? Who's got their mic open? Yes, Sean, you got your mic open? No? Oh, okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, cool. But that is someone mentioned who mentioned about the converting to Judaism. That's a real big thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was surprised by that. I mean, he just gave up Jesus just like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just said, oh, you don't even want to stay for JC. Okay, you didn't want to do the cross. Okay, go for it, Sue.
It's 70 degrees in Chicago. How cold is it over there?
It's 10 right now over
here. You and JR act like y'all some Eskimos. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Baby, listen, you don't see the energy prices. People's bills are 80 grand. I'm not trying to have that, okay? Energy off. You understand?
Wait, how cold is it? Well, I don't know. You got to put it in.
It's like 10 degrees. It says 10 degrees there, but it feels colder than that. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What the hell is it?
Okay, I got 2 blankets on right now. I got a blanket on my leg.
What is that, Kojo? 50, 60? We don't understand. 40?
Oh, it's probably lower than that. Probably like 40, yeah. I think it's about 40.
I'm going to switch it to Celsius so I can figure out, because I don't know
what. 70 in Chicago, though. Yeah, it's 48 degrees in over here.
I mean, it was. Not right now. It's late, but...
It's probably about 40 something. 10 degrees.
Oh, it says it's 52 in London.
Okay. 52. And I'm in Birmingham, so it's slightly colder.
It's still 65 something here. Oh. The world is ending, y'all. The world is ending. It shall not be 75 degrees in Chicago in November. I know that's a side note. That's not a side note. But just want to say. That's not a good look. It should not be 75 degrees.
They said y'all always have them blankets though.
Don't play with my blankets, people. Y'all don't even know about these blankets. I'm gonna start selling blankets soon. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna do a mineral gang blanket for you guys.
I love a good. Those blankets go crazy. Like you can
listen,
sell
these
those.
blankets are beautiful.
People love those blankets.
This one's a beautiful blanket. I bought this from Tesco, so it's working.
Especially for women, like women in the chat. Y'all know we use them blankets for the office. You know, when the men try to freeze us in the office. Yeah, because men are very misogynist, and they think that because they want it cold in the office, that everybody wants it cold, and because men, they try to dominate women, they will set the office temperature to cold Don't bring no cap. Don't bring no cap because I ain't lying. I know that's what you're looking for. Look, I know
who's bringing a cap? Oh, ain't nobody think about you and your foolishness.
Okay. Thought he was digging for a cap. Anyway, yeah, and so women in the chat will say half of us, if not more, be having space heaters and blankets. We keep an office blanket. I say that to say people will buy your blanket because we need it for the office.
I'm gonna get on it. But do you know what? I'll be honest with you. Listen. Having ladies in the office, you guys do get colder quicker. I've noticed that. But maybe it's hard to get that perfect temperature for you guys. You know what I mean? A little bit too warm sometimes is annoying to be in the office. You know what I mean? I don't want to feel like I'm being spiked every time I come into the office. You know what I'm saying? When you feel that little bit of heat, like you're about to sweat but you haven't sweated yet, and that annoying comfortable sweat, that's the part I don't like. So I like it a little bit more chilled, if I'm honest with you. Plus, when I bang 20 press ups, I'm not gonna be sweating after that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I like it a little bit colder. Do you know what I'm saying? All right.
That's why you got to find a man that you can agree on the temperature. If you find a man that you guys won't argue about the right temperature in the house, you should go ahead and marry him.
Well, then go marry Brennan because he's going to turn it all the way up.
Don't start on that dream, Seaway, because that ain't gonna never happen. Yeah. I know plenty of married folk, and
find you a man that won't freeze you in the house.
They don't.
Won't freeze you. Won't put you on ice
at all.
Gonna tell you, man. You don't even think about turning up. Don't think about turning it up. You better leave the thermostat alone. Yeah. All right, cool. Next couple we're gonna talk about. Let's talk obviously about Matt and Colleen. Colleen, Matt and Colleen. Listen, the two of them, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like to, say it too often, but Colleen looks absolutely shook. She looks scared. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not sure if she's scared overall or whether she's just scared because her scene was coming up and she knows how her man is. He can blow a gasket and maybe that's why. So I'm not really sure 100%, but I want to see what you guys thought as well about Matt and Colleen and what you might have picked up when you're watching the episode as well. See where you got your mic open. You want to go?
Oh, it was open. I don't have much except for, I am actually not going to lie, feel really bad for Colleen. And I don't know, maybe she was hiding stuff from her dad, but I just don't know how her dad walked her down the aisle if he knew, and didn't stop her, because that's what dads are there for. She seems like she has a good support system and a good family unit. So I was just so confused why she said yes at the altar. And that's not saying Matt is a bad person. I honestly don't think either one of them are bad people. Individually, as humans, I don't mind either one of them. But Matt has not dealt with his issues. He hasn't even practiced dating properly since he got divorced. It doesn't seem like he's had any type of even semi-long-term relationships. And he's going from like 2 dates and 1 date to being married. I think he set himself up for failure and he set Colleen up for failure. And I'm just confused why Colleen went this route. And on the reunion, she seemed scared. I think she was also scared of them clips. I don't think she wanted to watch that pool clip anymore. So I do think that was half of it. I think that was more like her own embarrassment. She's one of those people who wants to be a good person. And every time they play that clip, she's confronted in whether she's a good person or not. And I think that bothers her. Of course, the women coddled her and was like, oh, Colleen, it's okay. You're all right. Even though they tear into Cole and they coddled Colleen, which is insane to me. So she doesn't cry. Her white tears, they coddled her, which I don't think is fair. I just feel like people need to be fair and they're not fair. But I feel bad for her. She looked like she was a sunken place. She looked like she needed to blink twice to let us know that she needed to break free. The body language, Kojo, that's not my expertise, that's yours, but it was giving, captive, fugitive. It was, she looked like a prisoner. And yeah, so I hope she's okay. And I hope she finds the strength to get out if her and Matt's relationship becomes not healthy because he hasn't healed. That's what I think.
Yeah. So Colleen is very much giving me Derek Jackson's wife type of vibes. You know, just sitting there, just nodding her head, just in agreement with everything. But I think it really boils down to her being afraid in that marriage. You know, like C-Way was saying. The big thing for me that I noticed for her is that when they were talking about the whole living arrangements, she's not really giving me a vibe that she's interested in moving in together. I think that that's something that she's just her body language by moving in together. When Matt had mentioned how hard she works on a daily basis, the things she does, gets up in the morning, does this or that, he has already calculated her whole day, what she does throughout the day. You know, and that's really weird to me. You know, it seems like he's keeping tabs on her to the point of, you know, I know what you're doing at every time of the day. And the vibe I got from him when they were out at the resort, you know, it did abuse her. You know, I was like, run, girl, run. But, you know, she's a fighter. She wants to be there. And she let it out in the pods when she was saying that that she wanted to she's always been in relationships and people see the ballerina and then they get tired of the ballerina look and then they end up leaving her. So this was something that I felt that she was going to say yes for just because of that. She's tired of getting into these on again, off again relationships, which I understand. I clearly understand. So I felt say yes to that. But this guy, Matt, he has a lot of unresolved issues, man. A lot of unresolved issues. He's aware of it, which is good. He's not in denial, but he definitely needs to seek some help. He should have sought help before getting on the show. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with Seaway and Corey. Matt is still so triggered by what happened in his previous relationship that it seems like he's always on 10. He's so intense, and the passion doesn't come from what necessarily Colleen is doing. It comes from the unresolved hurt or trauma that he's still suffering and that he hasn't sought help for. And the thing is, he may have told his family, told his friends what has happened and everything, but he's still living with that experience. And for him to be displaying that type of behavior so early, it's a very big concern. So I do get the sense that Colleen is nervous around him and is constantly going to try and smile and please him, right? To keep his mood good, keep his mood up, because it seems like he can blow up over little or nothing and really pour on the intensity into the situation, and that's not going to be comfortable for her. So she's always going to be walking on eggshells until he's able to sort that out. And he should have sorted it out before he came on the show, before he dates anyone, because it will ruin relationships. It will ruin his connection with the girls that he potentially likes until he resolves the issue. So, and it's not something that can be done quickly. I think for him it may actually take a quite a long time to be trusting and let his walls down and be completely looking at Colleen as a fresh start, you know. And I also think that he was very triggered by what took place at the pool, and so that's why when they replayed the scene, Colleen was kind of, I don't know, nervously watching. It wouldn't surprise me if she was looking at his reaction as it was playing as well, right? But I think Colleen just didn't want the situation to blow up and get as heated as it had done with Zanab and Cole getting involved as well. So yeah, he definitely needs to heal for sure.
Hello.
Sean, you're up.
Hello.
This man must be in Discord.
We are talking about Matt and Colleen, sir.
I'm aware who we're talking about. I didn't hear you say Sean. I was still hearing JR speak, and I was trying to order my Uber Eats. So please, please, do not mat me. Do not mat me.
Alexa, order Uber Eats.
Do
Alexa,
not,
order Uber Eats. Alexa.
don't set her off. Don't set her off, please. I just got her quieted down. I'm gonna have to adjust the settings. So yeah, what everybody else said. Plus, I think Colleen is smarter than all of y'all, because that's why those two ain't living in the same house just yet. They got their good story going on, but they're not living together. Anytime you see these couples that go on these, reality type, we're gonna get married shows, and they don't cohabitate right away, there's some red flags popping off. And I think Colleen was like, look, I ain't gonna embarrass you, because you've been through a lot of embarrassment in life. So I'm not gonna do it on TV, but trust and believe, we ain't gonna be living together. We're gonna tell a nice story, which is what they exactly did, and why they have not moved in yet. But she got her exit plan all mapped out. Trust me, she's gonna be out. Give them a good 6 months, they're gonna have a joint statement.
Well, I mean, to be honest, with the Matt and Colleen situation, thank you, Sean, by the way, Alexa, thank you. But obviously, with the Matt and Colleen situation, you know, it's tough out here. They've. I would say this: if you pay he's not ready for marriage. I know it's probably a wild statement to say, but he's not ready. Okay, his own friend said, "I don't think you're ready." Right? His own friend said it to him, "I don't think you're ready." And I knew when the friend said that, because he was actually vocal beforehand as well, earlier on, before he got married, and he was the one that was questioning Cole on the way that he does things, right? And questioned him on some things. So I knew that already, that Matt's not ready to be married. He's not recovered yet. Then he gave me this answer, which was just mad to me. He said, "You know what?" He said to the boys, "You know what? I've not been feeling myself, properly, until I got married, and now obviously, like I'm starting to feel back. I'm starting to feel back my normal self." And I said, "Yeah, he wasn't healed before he went into this marriage. This brother is going to probably be toxic as F." And I'm not saying that Colleen might not have a hand in it. I'm just saying he gonna be toxic as F, okay? Because he's gonna already start with insecurities from the beginning. The Colleen situation's happened with Cole. It only takes for her to be a ballerina somewhere she shouldn't be a ballerina at, and he gonna be blowing off the gasket, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it and then with her caving in so easily, yeah, I can see this being a toxic situation. I need Matt to just take some time out, recover, recuperate, get back in. Now they give us a great story about why they haven't moved in. Who am I to say it's a lie? But if that's the real thing, you're not saying you're spending 7 days a week together, but your lease is unfortunately too expensive to get out. Hey, they said they're moving in a few weeks. I don't know. I mean, but yeah, I'm with Sean on this. If you don't move in straight away, sometimes for me, it smells like there's trouble in the air. So yeah, I personally I saw it watching Colleen with Matt. She just never really looked comfortable. Yeah, she never looked comfortable, and I don't know. Maybe obviously she got a bit of a nervous disposition already, but I think the videotape playing was going to be a problem. She profusely apologized not only to Zanab, but she also kind of like, I don't know what she said. The words was like, she apologized to Matt, but then she was saying like, "We're in love," and it's the way she said we're in love. I said, I don't know if you're really in love the way you're saying it. She said it in a conjunction of a sentence with "we're in love," you're this guy's, and it's just the way that she structured it. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I said I think there's something a little bit wrong there. Yeah. Who else got extra thoughts? Go for it, Joe.
Also, let's face it, sometimes like people are late for things, right? And there may be a just reason for it. And I think that the argument they had when she was out past 2 a.m. or whatever that was, right? She like he was trying to ask her where she was, and that whole scene, it made me feel like if she puts her foot wrong or she's 5 minutes late or he's going to really be on her case. He needs to know where she is at all times. And even when she does tell him where she was, it's never going to be good enough. And I think that that kind of energy in that relationship is not a good recipe for success, for sure.
Yeah, I think she's tired, you know, of the arguments, because if you see that, I won't go as far as saying that Matt is abusing her. You know, I haven't seen it from my eyes, so I can't say that, right? But what I have noticed is that since the pool incident, it's been brought up 4 or 5 times throughout the show, right? She's tired of having that conversation. So she's trying to make sure that she doesn't add anything else to the mix, because that conversation already wore her out. You know, I agree what people are saying as far as them moving and them living in different places. Roommate situation, yeah, of course. I think Jay said in the comments as well, you can find another roommate. You know, you definitely can. And for it to be the excuse of money, that's what's really shocking, because my understanding is that Matt is a VP of an aerospace company. That's good money. That's some handsome money. So for them to say it's finances, that's where it lost me, because I'm like, okay, doing what he does, he's making good money. There shouldn't be a problem there. But what I do realize also is that she's keeping busy. She's minimizing her interactions with him. So if him for him to be able to calculate her day out all the way through, it's because she's not really trying to be present with him. So any excuse she has to do that, she's going to take it.
I was also going to add one more point, which was that I think Matt might actually enjoy the feeling of being in a relationship or being in love, right? So that's what I think he meant when he said, "Yeah, now I feel like myself now that I'm in a relationship." Like he might actually like the feeling of having somebody there all the time that he can, have a relationship that's um, meaningful, right? But the problem is he hasn't done enough um, reflecting on maybe what went wrong in his previous relationship, and obviously how to get over the fact that what happened took place. Until he resolves that, then however much he wants his relationship to work, it's not going to, because you can't be that triggerable and expect to have a fully functioning serious relationship. It's just going to be too problematic. You're going to be arguing most of the time, and if it gets heated, raised voices could lead to something else, and we don't want to see that happen. So yeah, and he doesn't even do a good job of regulating his own emotions. And I also think that even when Matt had the discussion with Cole and they kind of, agreed that what happened, they can put it in the past. It's the fact that Zainab is so insecure about Cole and about the way she is. That's why it kept being brought up, because Zainab won't let it go. So, but the combination of the four of them being involved in this particular instance is very combustible because of the personalities involved, namely Matt and Zainab.
Yeah, I almost wish they would have we spent so much time looking at Cole and Zanab. I wish they would have spent some time rehashing the night where he flipped out, and thought that the girls were doing up to something and he forgot he was invited, because those types of irrational moments and storming out That part is, to me, a little bit more behavior that is dangerous in a relationship when you are that erratic and oh man, I can't think of the word I want to say. Um, but you just react off of your emotions and you're not thinking, and he totally had himself convinced that something was happening that totally wasn't, and they had to spend time talking him off the ledge and explaining to him the whole scenario whilst he has packed his bags up and was moving out in a fit of semi rage. So I think that's a big issue. That's a definite red flag. Also, the way that Colleen was just so quick to apologize. To me, it's like, she wanted to make sure no one was upset with her. That kind of behavior, it kind of alludes to, if that's even her personality, maybe. But still altogether, oh, I really, really love Zanab, and just wanting to fall on the sword so quickly. And listen, did she do something she shouldn't have done? Sure. The conversation with Cole, definitely she entertained way too much, but I think she was just so apologetic and just trying to, just get it out and, just hurry up and get it over with so quickly that it was like you can't even hold her accountable. That's almost annoying when you try to tell somebody something they did to you and they're like, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, and I don't want to cry, and I want to, like, all right, lady, hold on, just they barely get an intro to what happened. So I hope they have a healthy balance, but Matt needs to do a lot of work in healing, because I just really believe he's way too triggered, way too still hurt from that previous situation, and that's what he's going to look at it through that lens each and every time.
Yep. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, definitely hear you on that, and I think they're the perfect storm, in it. You got somebody who can't emotionally regulate very well, and angers, frustrations because of hurts in the past, doubling up on these situations, and you got someone who, Colleen, seems to be a nervous disposition, who anxiously wants to get rid of any problems when she seems to be, quote unquote, the bad person. Give him a bit of a yesterday's live all over again. But she struggles to. I think as soon as she noticed, I think the situation with Matt, she really wanted to make it trying. She was like, the way she was begging to get back with him almost. I think that was kind of when I kind of noticed that, her self-esteem isn't as high as she was making it out to be. Like, oh, I'm a ballerina, da-da-da. It wasn't really as high. She just wanted somebody to love her. If I'm honest with you, that girl just wants anybody to love her. Yeah, she's looking for any man to love her. And now she's with somebody who can't emotionally regulate. It's just going to make it worse in regards to situations that are going to happen, and his frustrations are going to probably boil over, and that's probably what's going to cause a split between the two of them. I wish them well, but it's not looking good, bruv. So it's not looking good, bruv. Yeah, it's not looking good. Okay, go for it. Yeah.
I think Colleen's in like a catch-22. I think she's damned if she does and she's damned if she doesn't. If she talks back to him, he's gonna climb even higher to try and talk her down, right? And if she's very, I won't say agreeable, I would say if she's very anxious around him, he's still gonna exert that level of dominance through force, almost, with the way he speaks to her and the way he's gonna act. So I think she's stuck, and that's why I think he shouldn't be in a relationship until he's overcome what he went through, because now she is going to be on eggshells. If she talks back to him, he's probably going to flip out even more. If she tries to pacify him a lot, then he's going to feel like, yes, well, now I've got her in a certain position and she can't talk back to me ever, right? And I also think that when they watch the video back, it wouldn't surprise me if he kind of had her tight in his grip, because he was watching intently. He was trying to make sure that what she said to him was exactly what played out on the screen. which is why he made the comment afterwards. Yeah, you know what, I'm cool with it because she told me exactly word for word what I saw, so that reinforced what she said. So now I believe her, type thing. That's gonna be draining. Like any little circumstance that comes up, he's gonna try and fact check and observe her in a certain way. So yeah, they stay together. I wish them the best, like you say, but it's gonna be turbulent.
Thank you very much. All right, next couple. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Let's talk about Cole and Cole. Let's talk about. Sorry. Let's talk about Bartese and Nancy. Bartese and Nancy. Bartese and Nancy. Listen, I don't know. I know Bartese was a prickish for saying no. I mean, no. Let me not say that. I feel like I'm. That's not rich. I don't. That's not what I believe. Everybody's entitled to say no. Okay, so he said no, right? Just like anybody else. I'm not about to slaughter him for saying no. I actually don't get the backlash of him saying no on the decision day, unless we're gonna hold everybody accountable on decision day for saying no. Okay, so if we're gonna hold everybody across the board for saying no on decision day, I'm all for it. Shoot Bartese while you're there. Now, how he handled the situation with the family situation, I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, if I'm talking to my fiance, who's not my wife, unfortunately, because I said no, okay, I'm gonna need y'all to back away. I'm a person that likes boundaries. Let me finish my conversation. You can come and blast me after, but let me finish my conversation. Because one, I rewinded the thing several times and I still didn't hear his reasoning. Because as soon as he was getting into the actual reasoning, the family got involved. I was like, so I don't even know why did you not want to marry her, bro? I didn't get to finish it until they went into the other room, and then he kind of said what he said. But even then, it was not very, very clear. You know, I'm gonna say that both parties are suspect. Okay, first of all, I don't think anybody should be saying yes on this day. When you got your ex still tied up in your financial properties and stuff like that, Bartese should have been saying no. Nancy should have been saying no. Like, let's get our financials sorted. They were in two different financial lanes, it seems, as well. I just knew that it's not going to work out. The deletion was also another issue compatibility-wise. I just knew this wasn't going to go well. He's 25, she's 31. This wasn't going to work out. Brother was looking at Raven, not looking at her. Told her to her face that she'd be feeling a Raven, not that he thinks Raven's good looking. Yeah, it was done from then. You know what I mean? So for me, I think he saved everybody some time, and he said no. He said no on decision day, just like everybody who knows. I refuse to believe SK, Bartese, Zanab, whoever said no. I refuse to believe that I was in the moment and then I thought about it and then I said no. You're bullshitting me, and I don't bullshit me. I'm not a kid. You know exactly what you're going to say when you got to the altar. You're not waiting for the wind to change. I'm like, oh my God, I was just waiting for a sign, a shooting star to go past the window, and then maybe I would say yes. It's bollocks. It's like, if you're a brother, especially if you're a brother or sister, you know this tactic. You used to say to your sibling, you know what, if you had done this, I would have said yes, but now you've done this, I'm going to say no. No, you were never going to say yes, but you're happy that they did something so that you can say no. Because I was going to say yes. No, you weren't. You were going to always say no, and now they've done something, you can specifically use that as a reasoning as to why you're going to say no, right? So, yeah, I will be honest with you, I'm not buying anybody's excuse of why they got to the altar and suddenly I wasn't sure. Oh, please. But anyway, we're talking about Bartese and Nancy, so... Yeah, what are we saying, boys? What are we saying?
Man, listen. I feel the same way you do when it comes to the family. The family, crossing boundaries. But a piece of me also understands them being upset about it. I understand that. I understand that that's your only child, only daughter, only little sister, whatever the case is. But you still have to respect those boundaries. So I don't agree with Bartese necessarily cursing them out to get them to push back, because he has to understand his role in this, his role in their temper right now. So take some accountability for that. You said what you said, which is what sparked what they're doing. But it's kind of also a clear indication of this how their life was going to be together. Their family's going to be involved. You don't want that. So you dodged a bullet in that sense. Because if Nancy is telling them to back off and they won't even back off, the woman they're trying to protect, that's a very good indication that she doesn't have control of that family either. So you will have them in your business and your marriage, what's going on, coming over unannounced. I can see all that happening, right? Bartese definitely knew a long time ago his answer was going to be no. I picked it up. I picked up that vibe when Nancy said that he's not being affectionate towards her, that he's been very standoffish. He's always at the computer. He's not spending time with me anymore. When a man taps out that way, it's hard to get us to come back from that because it takes a lot for that to happen. At least something that's serious or deep to us, to that individual. And the whole conversation about the abortion to play the part in as well. I think that disconnect there added fuel to the flame. I think the fact that she she had certain successes in her life that she's accomplished was kind of intimidating to him. Being that she can drop 100K for a house, and he's like, "Whoa, you can do that?" You know, he made mention of that during the course of the show. So it was some things in there also that he was just insecure about when it came to Nancy. So it wasn't just her looks, it wasn't just weight or anything like that. Because I don't think Nancy is unattractive. I think she's a pretty girl. So I don't think it was to the point where he would be behaving the way he behaved. He just didn't felt inferior to her in a sense, and that's why the family made those comments. You don't deserve her. She has a lot going on for herself. She has more than you could ever give her. You know, you got to listen for those comments. You know, because when you're upset, you're really saying how you truly feel. Now it seems like somewhere along the way, the little brother made a note to say that, hey, he's not the guy for you. And then he said, I didn't want to be right. I didn't want to be right. You know, he's making those type of statements. Like he picked up on Bartese's BS when they was questioning him at the house, because all of his answers were surface level. You know, what do you like about my sister? What makes you, what makes your relationship tick? He was like, it's her personality. She makes me smile, and bruh, she makes us smile too. What else you got? Like seriously, that was that feedback. So he picked up on that. So to be a young guy, he had good senses, but like he said, he didn't want to be right. But his interaction with Nancy all around, man, it put a lot of red flags out there for me. And this is what I talk about ignoring red flags, man. Ignoring red flags. And you know, when it comes to I'm going to touch on this really, really quickly. The whole choose better situation. It comes into play in situations like this. Like Nancy, he gave you so much ammunition, so much to tell you that you weren't it for him, and because you didn't pick up on those signs, especially the conversation on the bed, when she gave him that look as he was saying it, that look, she was looking straight through him at that time. So to me, I think that there were a lot of red flags that were given there for her. She just should have picked it up and not been as surprised as she was with what happened.
Yep. Definitely hear that. See where good see back. You okay? Yeah.
I'm okay. You want me to go?
If you want to, if you're ready to. If you're not, I can move it on.
Oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
My thing is that we can't be mad at Bartese for saying no, right? Actually, I feel like he did what needed to be done, and so I can't be mad at him for that. If he did tell Nancy that he was going to give her a heads up about how he was feeling, then he should have did that, because you should keep your word. You know, like if they didn't have that agreement, then you just go along with the show and do whatever you want to do. But if you were, feeling how you were feeling with, SK, I may go along with his BS only because he was stuttering a little bit. And I'm pretty sure his mother's face, I could tell there was a lot going on when he got up there. But with Bartese, like Corey said, we know good and well that he was going to say no, because there was so many reasons to say no. There was no reason to say yes at that point. So my only issue with Bartese, well, I have two issues. And it's not even just Bartese. It's Bartese and Nancy. I feel like Nancy is in La La Land, and she was trying to make fetch happen with this relationship, and then kind of blame Bartese for breaking her heart. I don't really feel like that's fair. Bartese, on the other hand, knew that these issues were not going to be fixed. And like Corey said, I do believe that he was intimidated by all of the things she had going on. I also think that he didn't like the baby daddy ex-boyfriend. And I think he was able to see that her views weren't going to blend with his family. Side note, can you answer me this? I was talking to Jay about this earlier and I couldn't figure it out. Is the white lady his mama? Is that the same mama that cheated on his daddy at that same table, or is that somebody else? Remember when Raven was doing her jumping jacks while he was pouring out his heart, and he said the reason why his family's marriage broke up was because the mama got a boyfriend and cheated on his daddy? Is that the same lady?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure.
Because I almost forgot all about that. Everybody almost forgot all about that. Then I see them down at the table like the Brady Bunch, and I'm like, wait, ain't that the same lady? That's a side note. But I just don't see them really, making it work. And I feel like she put it on Bartese to pull the trigger, and then she want to cry. So my message is that, ladies, like, if a man has shown you every single sign that it's not going to work, do not do the Fantasia and say, if you don't love me, then don't talk to me. She had every reason to walk away, and then she wanted to wait on him to pull the trigger. And it's like, you never want to wait on a man to pull the trigger because it's gonna hurt worse. Like, she should have walked away. I just blame him for playing all them games down at her house and doing that apology tour. And then there was like 3 episodes where he was trying to act like he was all in it, and he wasn't. And I don't like the fakeness, not from him, not from SK. I'm not a fan. But the second thing I'm not a fan of about Bartese is, and I love how Nancy made it a point to say the blonde, she ain't low. She ain't low. I know what she was trying to say. The girls who get it. Okay. But him being down there on the boat with the blondes says everything about him that we need to know. His immature, and I do know men bounce back a little quick when they trying to heal, but his immaturity is what she saw, what she was worried about from the beginning, and it's how he played her in the end. He was immature. So it's like, if you know somebody's immature, don't fault them. Don't try to fit a circle through a square. Just let it go. So honestly, this may be an unpopular opinion. Nancy is mostly to blame for all of this. She had the wisdom. She saw the red flag. She saw that it didn't work out. And she pretty much backed Bartese in a corner to say no to her. Then she set her family up for the okie doke, because my brothers would have did the same thing. Y'all not finna drag me down here, down to this wedding and play in my sister's face. My brothers would have been worse because they're bigger. They would have big boy whoever tried to play me like that. And really, their beef is with their silly behind sister. Honestly. And the mama mad too. It's like, this is all Nancy's fault. And I hate to say it because I never blame the woman, but Nancy Bartese is a 25-year-old child, and he act like that the entire time. So what are we really expecting from him? Not a thing. That's all I got.
Fair. GR? Bartese Nancy.
Yeah, I think Seaway's onto something there. I think Bartese is too immature for the type of woman that Nancy is. And I say that to say, like, he, for him to sit down next to her and brazenly coo over Raven the way he did, that's not mature behavior. Why? Because you're not emotionally mature. You don't realize that doing that is going to severely harm Nancy's self-confidence, and also may lead to some mistrust with the way he behaves around Raven or anybody else that he potentially could meet, right? That she may feel intimidated by looks wise. So yeah, Bartese, he's quite upfront. And so when she was saying about he should have given her the heads up, I think that if he genuinely didn't know what he was going to do, then he wouldn't have told her. If he did know, he would have just told her straight, because, like I said, he just sat down on the bed, she's looking deeply into his eyes while he's talking, and he's just talking about another girl, how they would look as a couple, him and this other girl would look as a couple, and people would come up to them, and the look on her face, I was like, yo, there's no way, like she's not gonna take that and use that, right? Maybe not against him in every single thing like a Matt would, but she's definitely not going to recover from that in the space of time that they have, that window to get married or not. So I was surprised that she said yes to a degree, because she was hurt by that. But I also agree with Seaway's point. Some of the differences that they have in terms of the kids situation, like children, you know, things like that, those conversations don't align with each other, and their families, as we saw, can be quite passionate in defense of both of them. But I think that Nancy's family had a right to be upset, because the brother called it from like a few episodes back, right? And that's why he was so heated at the time. He's like, I knew it. I knew this guy was a joker, right? He's trying to defend his sister in that moment, so I get it. But this is where I kind of veer away from popular opinion. I don't think Bartese can talk to her family the way he did when they came to confront him when he went out to chase her. Like, and the reason why I say that is because, listen, he said no. So at that time, she's potentially going to be hurt. The family are going to be hurting for her. So they're going to want to get to console her. And like the conversation that he's going to have with her is not going to undo what transpired at the altar when he said no. Right? So he may have wanted to give her more clarity. That's cool. He could have done that at a later time, because at that point, there's no marriage. So she can go be with her family, get consoled. And also, last point, I think that when they had the talk on the stairs, and she was like, "No, listen, we're not gonna continue to date each other without being married. No, it's over. It's done." I think deep down, she's been waiting for that moment to do that. And what Bartese did at the altar was the final straw. That's the impression I got.
And Rockridge, yeah. Go for it, Sean.
Okay. Look, y'all know how I feel about old Barista. He just grinds my gears. He gets on my nerves. He went from looking like an Eraserhead to looking like Bert from Sesame Street. I need him to cut that poof off the top of his hair and grow up. You know, I just felt like he should have been straight up and upfront from the very beginning with Nancy, and I feel like he just played with her feelings and her emotions the whole time. And yeah, now, you know, she had a lot to her, and I said that just the other day, you know, to quote Seaway, she definitely had a lot to her and with her. I do feel the family was about to, you know, they was knuck up if we buck up, you know, they was ready to tussle. Now, I didn't notice that before when they met the brother at the household. He had something on top of his ear. Was that a hearing aid? I wasn't sure what that was, but I never noticed that before. This is an aside, but Yeah, they was really intense, and that was a lot. So I get them wanting to be segregated from them because you just didn't know where that was going, and there was a lot of people. And I think it was good at least to see that Nancy, to that she has some support. Her mama is a lot to handle. So I think he definitely was well within his rights to say no. I'm for me, it's not the saying no on decision day. It's him being intentionally misleading. I think he dragged her along the coals the entire way, from telling her that that she wasn't his type, talking about other women, then towards the tail end, pulling away his affection, not wanting to hug her, not wanting to be intimate with her, based on the fact that he said they were having differences. I think that kind of behavior is very, very immature. I think it's also manipulative. You can have a disagreement without intentionally trying to withhold from the person and cause them pain, right? That part I really, really did not like. I think he sold Nancy on a dream, which is unfortunate, right? Because all of her concerns were around his immaturity, and he was like, "No, I've dated a young older woman before, and I'm very mature," and da 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 da. And then here he goes, and he turns around and does the same thing. So I think he just behaved very immaturely. We saw it. There's no, he didn't do a lot of things that made sense. I think, he was like, "I'm very proud of us for having that. That's a real conversation, and we chose to have that." Yeah, bro, it is a real conversation, but it's a very tricky one, and it's a polarizing one. And when you put your family in the mix and they're just meeting this person, it just really puts the person in an unsafe position to start on that kind of playing field when you guys have such a short window to get to know each other and get to, kind of try to build something from there. So for me, I felt like that was just setting her up, because you know how your family is and your family's views are. I also think that people are very selective, so they want to be Christian today and do what they want to do tomorrow, and you want to act like that's the reason why you want to do it. I think don't pin it on God, don't pin it on Christianity, just pin it on this is our belief and this is why we want to do it, because people pick and choose what they want to do. So I just feel like stand on your beliefs and have some of these conversations behind closed doors, because they're best served that way. It's not, some things aren't for public consumption. Some things aren't for consumption with your family. You don't have to put your family in the midst of your relationship, on very polarizing issues. I think, yes, should they get to know your spouse, to kind of judge the content of their character and see if they are a good fit, 100%. But like getting down to the nitty gritty and very polarizing issues such as AB, nah, that was very immature of him. And if he wasn't trying to set her up, it was definitely not having foresight as a man to think about how that was going to play out. And he should have known better. He didn't do a lot of protecting of her. And again, I'm no fan. I'm not saying Nancy was the bee's knees and he should have been, going all ape to try to make her his wife. I'm saying if you don't want her, then be clear, be upfront, and if you do, make a good, honest go at it and don't play games. And I also kind of have a little particular issue, with the fact that he seems to have a very, very much so a preference. And I think when people intentionally go after something, that says a lot about you and how you feel about yourself than it does about the other person. So I don't like how he did that. I don't like how he kept trying to, talk about, pretend that him and Raven, he had a shot with her. And I love, kudos to Raven for, setting it clear that it wasn't gonna happen, right? But he kept like trying to make that a thing. And it's like, bro, like what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It was like worse than the Cole Colleen conversation, because it was like, at least it was reciprocal. It was just cringy when it was him and Raven. So yeah, he did a lot of things that really grinded my gears. Not a big fan. And I think he blindsided her, because she just wasn't expecting it to go down like that, And I think the same way, there was blindsiding with Zanab. I think it was blindsiding the way that, he did his little decision day thing.
Yes. So Raven finished that conversation. Like, she made sure, like, yo, my goon, there wasn't a chance for you. Like, Raven made sure, like, she let everybody know, like, yeah, and she doubled up and made sure, like, there was nothing, right? There was no chance for you. Like, she made sure, and I got no beef for that. She let him know. I think because she thought, and I also think as well, she was able to do that more easily because I think she thinks she's out of Bartese's league. That's why. So it was easier to do that way. But anyway, but no, with Bartese's situation, I think you guys kind of said it a lot for him as well. I'm gonna say straight, I personally don't think he handled that family thing wrongly. I'm gonna be real with you, right? If I'm talking to you have to understand as well, like, if I've said no, right, and the reason why I say I don't think it's wrong is because of the way the daughter also reacted as well, right? If Nancy wanted to speak to her family, and what people are missing here is this thing. I've said no to Nancy. Nancy wants to find out also why I said no, and you're trying to stop her from asking me the questions. You want to rob her of that opportunity of having a one-to-one with me, and you all want to be involved at the same time. What are you doing? What are you doing? And actually what it showed me is that, will you ever let Nancy do her own thing? I'm not saying you can't be protective. By all means, be protective, right? But you wait till Nancy has finished or whatever Nancy decides she wants to do. And I can't hold Bartese accountable for saying he wants to have a one-on-one conversation with her, because it was only the other episode beforehand. SK doesn't go after Raven. Everyone's like, why didn't SK go after Raven? Why didn't SK follow after Raven into a room and explain to her what happened? So you can't win for nothing. He needed to go and speak to her conversation. Most people go after the person. We've seen it in the past few seasons. As soon as they say no, they go after the person and they explain what was happening. You have a one-to-one conversation. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't shouting. She wasn't in any danger. The family the mum and the brother needed to stay the heck back and wait. But here's the biggest issue. You're trying to run her life. My friends, stay the frick back. Right? So that, when I saw that, I said, everyone's like, oh my God, he spoke to her in a rude way. Yes, because you're impeding my space. I've said no, and I'm trying to talk to your daughter. Your daughter's also told you, back the frick up. You're not backing up, and you want to ask me questions and you want to interrogate me. Well, you're not going to get those answers right now, because I'm trying to talk to your daughter about this situation, okay? You will get your turn. I've told you, you can come back later on and ask me these questions. But let me first do my duty of care and speak to this person first. But you won't let me. You won't let me. And your brother's here looking ready like you want a rock man. Well, at that point too, you want me to you want me to what? To be cool. Me too. It's a high tension moment. Like, I've just said no. It's embarrassing to her. It's embarrassing to me. You know what I mean? But your family's here. My family's here. I know he was gonna say no anyway. Let's be honest. But it's embarrassing at that moment. Do you know what I mean? And and so at that point in time, step off. Let them have their conversation. Let them finish up the conversation. Because you can't blame me for getting annoyed at that moment when I feel like you got your whole family coming all towards me. Which is why his mother also had to come in and get involved and say, hey, let them have their conversation. Because you're all rushing me. You know what I mean? You got like 10 people rushing me to trying to harangue me. I haven't even finished talking to your daughter about the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm letting you guys know, like, with all due respect, step the frick back. You're crowding the space and you're taking up air and O2 right now. And you're giving me all this bravado and energy. Your eyebrows are all foraging right now. And the mum's all trying to point in my face. And your own daughter's telling you, give me some time. Let me speak to him and get my answers. Y'all don't want to give her the time to do that? You know what I'm saying? So it almost, and yes, it did, Trey. It almost did get ugly because the way they rushed on. And that's why I said that it didn't need to be that. Let them have the conversation. And for me, when I saw that, listen, don't get it twisted. Bartese was always going to say no. He should say no. Nancy should also say no. Both of these people are problematic in their own sense of the word. That why she didn't see this was an issue, we don't know why he got to this point. And he also too, I felt it was very politically annoying. I say politically annoying, but annoying and hurtful as well, that you went to do the forever bracelet? Why did you go and do? Look, bro, if you weren't sure, whatever, but you did not. Once you go to do the forever bracelet, you're basically saying, this is my way of telling you I'm on things. I'm on things doing this thing. The show requires you to go to the marriage altar. We get it. But then to go and get a forever bracelet, that's not the show. That's you. You know? And you had conversations that were probably problematic before then. So, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't have to go and do the extra mile thing. You know what I mean? That part was bastardry. You know what I mean? That part was bastardry. And it needed no action behind that. You didn't need to do that. That part was where I was like, yo, brother, that's a fuck piece, right? So I can understand why the family's vexed. I don't know if they knew about the bracelet thing. I can understand why the family's vexed. I have no issue with the family being vexed and being angry. I just wanted them to wait to the end, because then they didn't get to. That conversation outside then had to take itself inside and wait for it to get the thing said. And look, people, don't be run up on people. You know, don't be just because you're family. Don't be run up on people. You don't know how they're gonna react. Okay, I mean, you're gonna run up on people like that and think nothing's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So I personally don't think he was actually rude to the family. I think he could have said a lot worse. But in terms of his behavior throughout the marriage situation, you're a prick for that.
Coach, I almost forgot about that bracelet. You know, and I think that's like when you're playing games with somebody's emotions and breadcrumbing them. And I think also, you know, definitely I'm with you. The family, you know, you got to step back, especially if the daughter is asking you. But then I think finally Nancy got her senses about her when he's talking about, well, let's see where this goes afterwards. She was like, no, I love it. I'm glad. I'm so glad that she was like, yeah, you're not going to get another second, another minute of my time. You said no and go. So I love that she got her, you know, her pride about herself and was like, yeah, this ain't it. You played in my face. You were rude. And you just go ahead about your business, bro.
You know, to me, I think bracelet seemed like a situation that he's done before. It seemed like something he's done before to get closer to women. Like if there is a blonde woman that he was talking to, he probably did the same thing with her. You know, when hey, I don't know this perfect place so we can go and get something special. Come follow me. Kind of like the way he did with Nancy. I don't think they came up at the spur of the moment. I just don't get that. With the family part of that, though, I do agree with you guys saying that the family deserved for him to speak up about it. I think that's a me thing when I say about the cursing at the mother. You know, that's just something like for me being raised in the South. That's something we don't do. We respect parents, you know, to a point where we don't curse at parents. So that's a me thing. But I definitely agree with you guys as far as him having to speak up for himself. You know, when his dad bent that corner, I thought his dad was going to get in there. I thought he's about to get in there. Like, hold on now, back off my son now. But I didn't see that action from him. I didn't see much action from any of his friends. I did see one guy try to hold the brother back a little bit, but besides that, that was it. He was really standing on his own out there. Everyone else was pretty much sitting inside. So I get that. You have to fend for yourself. You shouldn't let anyone walk over you. Definitely. I don't care how old you are. I don't care who you are. I shouldn't let that happen. I don't know if you guys caught the lie though in the reunion when he was asked a question about, do you think do you regret choosing Nancy over Raven? And he was like, no, I don't. That was the biggest lie to me because he went on and on about her in that bedroom. And something else, man, you know, I think as men in general, we have to do a better job of doing. We have to be able to read the room a little bit better because the look, like I said, the look that Nancy gave him clearly meant that she was not trying to hear what he was talking about. It clearly meant that, hey, stop. There was so many times I looked at the TV and I was like, Bartese, stop, bro. Stop. You're behind right now. Just stop it. So we got to really get a gauge of where we are with women, you know, because he was not in a good place at that time. So yeah, Bartese, the whole situation for him, I just think he handled everything immaturely. I'm not saying he should not have said no. Like you said, Coach Joe, I think both of them should say no. But I think that it was something that was decided a long time ago. That whole, yeah, I didn't know until I looked into her eyes at the altar. No, that's not true.
And Corey, nobody in Bartese's camp was gonna jump in because Cole had more black friends than Bartese did. Daddy was the only black one there.
Hey, if you notice, when the situation with him being at the rodeo, you saw it how SK was like, I'm not doing that. That ain't for me.
Exactly.
I'm
And
not doing
this
that.
is what I'm saying. It's like,
Handle
bro,
that,
like
Ma.
where's the representation amongst your friends? And I get it. He is biracial. So I'm not saying deny, but he is all the way on the other side. And that's
What do
the
y'all
part.
expect?
Well,
No.
listen, Seaway, on this one, it is what it is. Listen,
When a black man, he chooses for his children's mother to be a white person, a lot of those men, not all of them, support whiteness. They want proximity to whiteness, and why wouldn't that pass on down to his children? And Bartese also seems to love his proximity to whiteness to the point where he wants to choose people who look like his sister. And 5 seconds off of the marriage, he's with a blonde. So only thing black about Bartese is that hair.
And that ain't even it, because he's playing out the hair of a Sesame Street character right now. So it's all ambiguous.
Because that's all he can do with that hair.
Why
He
my-
wish he
why-
had the waves.
Why my brother just texted me and he was like, yo, I didn't even realize he was watching. He was like, yo, bro, I realized that he'd have no black friends. Yo, that just speaks a lot. You can have, I'm all about diversity. I have friends of races, other races, but look, it's like you ain't got near one. Like, who gonna keep you on code? Who's gonna help you? Like, and that's what he needed. That he needed them friends that's going, step in and be the brothers, right? The real brothers, and be like, yo, I get it. My brother messed up, but y'all gonna have to back up. There's too many people crowding on one. Not near one of them could do that. So good for you. Keep chasing it, and have a great time.
I knew he wasn't gonna have no black friends after he said Raven was a smoke show. What black man have you ever heard call somebody a smoke show? You should have stopped looking for any black or black adjacent people in his entire circle after that. He's lost. He's in the sunken place.
I was just gonna say, like, I think people may have missed it, but it was glaring when they said about him being on the social media with the blonde girl. He immediately jumped to, I don't want to talk about my sex life. My sex life isn't important now. Yo, they weren't talking about your sex life, bro. They're talking about your social media activity. So you gave away whatever happened. You gave away more than you needed to. And the other thing is, if Nancy is already insecure to a degree about how Bartese was attracted to Raven, when she goes on the next day onto social media and sees him with this blonde chick, then she's going to have a problem because she's going to be like, Rob, he is attracted to someone that doesn't look like me. The whole time he's been lying about how he likes me and this, that, the other. Maybe not as much as Raven, but clearly blondes are his thing. So there's going to be that element of deception there at the reunion. But I will say as well as the brother noticing that he was for the shits, so to speak, the mum also said, like, don't play with my daughter. In not maybe in that word, in that verbiage, but she did say, the only time I'm going to get mad is if you play around with my daughter, because she's not to be played with. So he knew all of this going into the ceremony, and yeah. And the other thing is, I did notice that his dad was crying. His dad was very disappointed. So I don't know what conversation went on after that, but his dad seemed to be all for him getting married, right? And just like Nancy's family were disappointed, they were also very passionate. And in that culture, the Latin culture, there is a lot of passion involved when they get irate, right? I don't think that's necessarily a stereotype. I think that's actually a common thing that they might acknowledge themselves. So, yeah, Bartese, I'm glad he said no, because he wasn't attracted to her, and it would have just kept reoccurring all the time, and it would make Nancy insecure. But I do think he definitely wasn't mature enough and ready for the type of lady that she is. Like she's older than him and established and all these other things. I think at 25, I don't see that working at all. He probably needs someone more closer to where he is at his stage in life, and it's probably more about, you know, going from one day to the next and not really having to figure out too much going forward. Because I think with Nancy would come a lot of pressure to live up to certain expectations that she might expect from an older guy, and he may not have the capacity to do that.
Cheers, see ya. Yeah, no, guys, I wasn't sleeping. I was watching the clip back again of the situation with Nancy Bartese and her brother, and I was trying to see what was going on there. But now I was watching it back, and it's quite interesting. The brother was say, I mean, the brother was doing a little bit, you know. He was doing a little bit too much, you know, because it was no longer about Nancy. Like this is like off the cuff comment because it's not, but maybe this is something that she might want to look into, right? His whole passion wasn't really about Nancy. His passion was about him being right, and the fact that he told the family that this guy wasn't good, right? And he couldn't let it go, even when Nancy's saying it's not about you. He kept on going, I know it's not about me, but I just need to know what he's got to say. I just need to know what he's got to say, and it became no longer about his sister, and it became about him. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how long that's been going on, that kind of energy. You know what I mean? Because Nancy out here making choosing people that kind of mad thing. I'm just trying to think why she's making these choices, but it's an off the cuff situation. I just saw it and I just thought to myself, I'd add it into some commentary. Okay, let's do another. Someone said red flag if we got a dangling earring. Oh lordy. Okay, cool. Let's go to. We've done Matt and Colleen already. We've done Colin Zayn. No, we haven't done Colin Zayn. But with SK and Raven. Really quickly. SK and Raven. I know much wasn't shown. You know. Yeah. There was. They've obviously got back together again. You know, she's done her TikToks. He's still wearing velvet. You know, he's grabbing her ass as well, hugging her and everything. And apparently Raven has become this charmed, quiet woman. I'm going to call cap on that a little bit, but I'm going to say that she's lying in wait. She will rear her head again, not in a bad way, but that quietness of Raven? Go on, Seaway.
Here's the thing about them, right?
Yeah.
If SK didn't pull that stunt down to the wedding, I don't have no trouble with them both saying, hey, not right now, on some Gina Nina, but their wedding day was kind of dramatic too. But like, you know, just like, hey, this is a weird place to get married. Like, we're going to be in separate households. Let's date, do the long distance thing, grow in love, that type of stuff. That to me, for their situation, would have been fine. And I'm pretty sure they are able to get to know each other at a slow pace right now. And maybe it will turn out better for the both of them because they can actually date like a real couple instead of forcing their way into a very serious relationship before they know each other. But all I can say is that this situation is exactly what Jay, I, and the ladies have been saying in the chat for the last 4 weeks now. Women prioritize stability, peace, love, all over looks, height, muscles, and it's very clear to me that she has grown to be deeper and deeper. And I usually can tell when people are is cap. Raven seems like she's really like in a good place with him. I think she really is happy with him. And I think it's because he's providing confidence, security, peace, maybe financial stability, all things that she hasn't had, because the other dudes were looking at her for all these superficial things and she wanted to go beyond that. And I think that's what the women have been saying. A real confident man, it doesn't matter what you look like. Like that's the real bag is his confidence. And I don't know if she's gonna keep this fit, feminine, submissive thing she got going on. I'm not Miss Cleo. I don't know. It could, she could not. You know, because the lady doing jumping jacks down to the Pilates while Bartese was talking does not seem like this person. But people evolve, and different people and different energies bring out different things in women. And I've even heard the men say that on this channel. A certain man's vibe, confidence, that energy will make a particular woman submissive, whereas if she was with another man that showed a lot of weakness, she would be a big boss, kind of like Katie and in Swayze. Different show, but Katie and to some people is the raw, like she says. But with Swayze, she's a lot more submissive. I think women's energy really depends a lot of times on the man. So we'll see. But I will say is I'm more concerned for Raven, how she's so head over heels for SK after he pulled that stunt at the altar. I know a lot of people think it's okay what he did. And maybe he really was tussling down at the altar. And after hearing him talk, I do think maybe his mother and other people really weighed on him, deeply. But I don't know. I feel like he's shocked. I wouldn't personally feel comfortable with SK moving forward for me. But if Raven is, then I wish them the best. And I hope that it works out once he's done with school and everything works out. But I would say SK got some super villain tendencies, and I know y'all probably don't see it, but I'm telling you it's there. I don't care how he looks. SK is a quiet unaliver, okay? Y'all may think he's sweet. SK can get you. He's one of the people who get you on the low. So I'm just saying, Raven needs to be careful. Y'all think she's the big bad bully. No, it's actually SK. So you heard it here first. She gonna have a burn book if SK play her again. But anyway, wishing for the best.
You got your caps tonight, bro? Please, I need you.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Man, check this out.
Y'all need some discernment. I'm just trying to let y'all know. Y'all underestimate SK if y'all won't.
Man, look. First of all, shout out to my boy SK for the fit. The suit was tight. I'm giving props for that. Dude with the kufi on. The kufi was dope. The velvet kufi with the sparkling stuff on it. Yeah, that was pretty dope to me. I will say this though about SK, man. The man has standards, man. I like SK because he has standards. He's like, I'm not going to follow the peanut gallery, that rodeo. He said it's not for me. I'll be up here chilling, cheering you guys on. I can respect any man who holds his own and stands 10 toes down. So that's my respect in that way. As far as him and that wedding, though, man, like I knew that for him as well. I knew he wasn't into it as well. I was a little back and forth at first until they took that last boat ride. I was like, yeah, he's not in it. He's done. It was just so much that was going on between the interaction of those two and Raven pushing him away. it was evident to me that she didn't want to follow the culture. She didn't have any respect for the culture. Well, I won't say any. She didn't have a lot of respect for the culture. So to me, that was enough for him to turn him off. You know, Raven, Raven to me, I Raven really appears that comes off as that she got it all together. That really, everything is right with her. I wake up in the morning, I do my Pilates, I train 3 times a day, I teach a class, everything is hunky dory. You know what I'm saying? But there are some things that she really needs to work on as well. You know, for Raven, for me, the disrespect of the culture when he said that, this it was the little fan thing that still bothers me to this day. The little thing that he had, he said he uses to bless the house. She started playing with it, doing things like that, just disrespectful. The fact that she wanted him to pay her rent while he was in school was laughable to me. But it was a certain demands I felt that Raven was really pushing him away. That's why when the question came up about were you blindsided? She was said, no, I wasn't blindsided. And that's the reason why. She knows that she had some part in this as well. So her accepting SK and saying, okay, let's try to make this work. Let's try to do this. Let's try to, try a long distance relationship. It makes sense because they were both at fault. If it was all SK, I'll be right there with you, C-Way. If it was 100% SK, I would be. But she did some things. She left some breadcrumbs out there to show him that, hey, you're not gonna get the kind of woman you think you're gonna get. By messing with me, I will not conform. I will not do this. I will not do that. No, can we find another way? Nope. It was no compromise from her. No compromise. It was either her way or no way. And he kind of got that feeling. He felt that, and I think that's what really led him to that no. That's my two.
I think, Corey, we all agree that he definitely had reasons to pause, right? I think we all agree with that. Even though I would push back on she didn't compromise. I do think there was a lot of stuff she compromised on. I do think there was a lot of other stuff that she should have compromised, been more compromising about, that she kind of drew hard lines that I think gave him pause. I just think from the viewer's perspective, and again, we don't know what they cut out. And I'm really taking what Raven said with a grain of salt, because I think she's trying to save face, saying she wasn't blindsided. I think for the viewer's standpoint, from what we saw, we were all blindsided. Even what Vanessa said, her jaw was on the ground. People's jaw was on the ground because not because SK didn't have reasons to say no, is that he didn't indicate that he was going to say no at any time. I think that's the playing she got played aspect. I think people are conflating whether he had reasons to say no versus whether he blindsided her. There's two different, reasons. And that's why I'm saying, if I was Raven, based on what we saw, if they had a side conversation and he voiced, hey, I'm concerned that, you don't want to move. I'm concerned that, I don't know, that your family isn't present. I'm concerned that you want me to split my FAFSA money on your rent. Any of those things, I would have said, okay, SK, you got a reason. You know what I mean? Those are valid concerns. But he pulled a Brennan up into the altar. That is the issue. Corey, what are you shaking? When did he ever indicate he had an issue? Point to one time he indicated he had an issue outside of the family thing.
This is what I can identify with. Okay, with SK. SK is not going to show his hand until he's ready to show it. He's a Scorpio. So when he tells a Scorpio, I pay attention to how his movements are working. Now, I'm not saying this is the right thing to do, the best thing to do, but I will say this. One thing about us as Scorpios, you cannot read us. You will not see our hand until we're ready for you to see our hand. So he gave no breadcrumbs. He gave no indication that it was over, because he's still trying to get it together in his head, whether he wants to do it or not. Now, he had a laundry list of things to go by. Every time she would talk, I could see the wheels moving in his head, like, okay, all right, add that to the list. All right, go ahead, proceed. Okay, all right, add that to the list of things that she said she wouldn't do. Now, her putting the garment on, her wrapping her hair, she looked beautiful, by the way. But her wrapping her hair and doing all that, that was a piece of her giving herself to into that culture, and I respect her for that. But there were a lot of things she was saying that she just wasn't down for. And she didn't come to the table with any type of compromise. She just said no. Simply put, no. I don't want to live this way. I don't want to live that way. The man just said, I'm going to be living, a little bit differently because I'm going full time. This is not a part time. This is full time. He told her that's in the pods, and now they're out in the real world. Now it's a big problem and everything. So he's like, why are you switching up on me? I laid all these out for you. So I could see if he manipulated the situation and made it seem like, they was going to live a happy, loving life. He going to take care of everything, take care of her and all that. And no school was mentioned, but he was very transparent in the beginning by saying what he had going on in his world, and could you deal with that or not? And she was like, yeah, I'm cool. So when you do things like that and then you switch up on people, that gives you reason to for pause and reason to add those things up. Okay, I told you this, now you're not doing it. I told you that, okay, now you're not doing it. I told you about my culture, now you're saying you don't want to be a part of this tradition or that tradition. When the women in his family, the women he loved, told her to give some advice about humbling yourself, make sure that you still respect your man. So those are gems. I know it's hard to hear that you still want to have that respect, no matter money, whatever case is. You want to still have respect for your husband. You're talking about your husband at this point. So certain things she was just not really down for, and it was evident that was the case for her.
Well, it sounds like Corey, he made the right decision in saying no because he's not ready for marriage. Because being a Scorpio, I will say I do know a lot of Scorpios are like that. I envy that because I show my hand every time. I'm an open book, and sometimes that gets me hurt in the end. But I will tell you, in marriage, having that personality trait when you're holding on to stuff and not, you're guarding your heart, but you're not letting the other person in to correct their behavior. It's a recipe for a really short marriage. Because that Scorpio vibe that you're saying, it's a defense mechanism. You're gonna protect yourself every time, and yeah, you're protecting yourself, but by not allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to voice your concerns to allow another person to fix it, you're really destroying actually the union. You have to be able to at some point show your hand so the other person can fix whatever they're doing wrong. And that's why I said I personally felt bad for Raven, because although she had flaws, I feel like she was more transparent. And when you're more transparent and you have your cards on the table, you're able to fix what stuff needs to be fixed. And my concern is that I personally, and I'm not Raven, that's why I said if she can deal with it, congratulations, I wish them best. But I couldn't personally deal with someone who was able to do what SK did and hold his cards so close to the chest. I would not be able to trust him like that because I wouldn't know what else he's holding on to, what I'm doing wrong, what I need to fix. Unless he was like, man, this was for the show and this was just a bad moment for the show, I realized I could have been more transparent, I'm going to move forward, then great. I would say don't throw SK away. He's a good dude overall, but that would concern me. And I don't think it's good communication for a long-term relationship or a marriage.
Okay, yeah. The last comment, I would let other people do it. But for me, I want to tell you that I do agree with you that it is not something to boast about, being able to hide cards and not show them. But it does have its strengths and weaknesses. In certain situations, you do not want to literally do not want to show your hand. But then there are other times where you should. Now, what you mentioned about relationships and being ready for marriage, that is when you should, right? So I'm agreeing with you on that. When you say you love someone, when you say that you care for someone, that person cares for you, you should be able to communicate how you feel, what you want, what you need. So there's no excuse for that. But in this situation, he's getting into something that he needs to know everything in totality. So if I were in SK's situation, I would probably play this the same way, because I don't want you to hear me say a bunch of things that I don't like, because now you're going to start withholding things that you don't like. And you won't tell me those things because I'm already mentioning the things that you're saying that I don't agree with. So that gives you a reason to say, okay, you know what? The last 3 times I came to him and talked to him about how I felt, he told me that he wasn't in agreement with it. So because he wasn't in agreement with those things, now I'm going to hold back. Now I'm not going to give you everything, that I don't want to risk you having something else that you don't like that I said that I'm going to do or don't want to do. So in that instance, to me, it's like, okay, I'm going to let you say what you want to say what you need to say. I'm collecting data. And then at that point, I can make a decision, because that decision is for him. Now, if the decision was for someone else or involving someone else, he has to be more open to it. He has to be willing to have that back and forth conversation. But this is a decision he has to make for himself. So because of that, he didn't need to involve her. He had to hear everything out as natural as possible. But I do agree with you that it's not a good thing.
Who's next? Who hasn't
JR.
spoken about the SK Raven situation?
Okay, I think this one is quite easy. All right, follow me on this, right? Remember when Raven didn't know how to work the coffee machine? She didn't know how to make the coffee, right? And then you also remember when SK's family said that there must be stew in the house every day. Keep stew in the house. And you saw Raven's reaction to all of that, right? That's what made SK not choose Raven, like to say yes on decision day, because she still needs time to learn how to make the stew. All right. So, and I'm being facetious, but it's a serious thing. That's why the family said that that was important. Those type of cultural things need to be in place for him to feel like he's making the right decision. Right. So it's not just the headdress, getting married in the garment and stuff. It's the actual adoption or integration of his culture, right? And yeah, still be yourself, of course, but like there are certain things that he is going to need from his woman in terms of her adopting the culture for him to be secure, right? So I think that it's a good thing that they're still together because it means that it's not finished. It's not like they can still have time to work on these things. And it's not just one-sided. He's going to need to be flexible and adaptable to certain things for her as well. The distance may be challenging, right? But the fact of the matter is if they're going to do real life with each other, then sometimes it may take longer than the process allows. And I mean, I think he works for Goldman Sachs or one of them type of companies. He's got, experience there. So his degree or his course that he's studying is going to benefit them in the long run if they do get it together. It's going to lead to a lot of financial opportunities for him and more stability for them as a couple. And as we've spoken about previously, she does have some materialistic tendencies to a degree. So if they stick it out, then maybe it can work. She may be open to and like things about the culture as she learns more about it, right? So yeah, like for me, I don't think he's a snake. I don't think he necessarily was like, yeah, you know what, decision day, I'm going to say no. I don't think he had that energy. I think he genuinely likes her, genuinely has feelings for her. And just by the way he actually delivered the no on decision day, I could see it was a struggle for him from what I observed. It wasn't just a flat no. It was, he had some feeling in there that was kind of giving him conflicting thoughts as to what he should do. But ultimately, I think he chose the right decision because these things shouldn't be rushed. If you're going to do life, there's no need to necessarily rush at that time. Get to know each other on the outside. The studying is going to be a problem because he's going to be in California or wherever, Berkeley or wherever. And, sometimes absence can make the heart grow fonder. And sometimes the distance can kill the vibe. So give it time to play out.
JR, I have a question. How do you reconcile what you're saying with the fact that SK and Ariana said this in the chat too, went on and on about how he didn't want a traditional wife and that he's not like all these other dudes or who want this and that. He doesn't care if his wife doesn't know how to make coffee and all this type of other stuff. because I find it really interesting that in the pods and prior to later on in the process, he was really like he loves Raven for how she is, and then now, and maybe this is just you guys putting this on him because he didn't necessarily say this, but it's all about his tradition. That just like reminds me of like how black men get white women, then get mad that they can't teach their children black culture, or how like Kanye gets mad at Kim for not knowing how to raise his black children. To me, it's the same thing with SK. And I'm not even saying SK said this, because to be fair, I only hear people talking about SK saying this. I've actually never heard SK say this, to be fair. But if SK did say this, it doesn't make sense that he wants a true Nigerian bride from someone who's biracial Texan that doesn't even seem like they even grew up around one Nigerian. Okay? That to me doesn't make any sense. If you really wanted your Nigerian bride, you should have got that, because this person has her own culture too. It may not be a culture that you can stamp, but everyone has culture based on their upbringing and their surroundings. So I'm not sure if what you guys are saying is, or I should just say, JR, what you're saying is true, then that's more reason to support my position that he's been not being very honest and baiting and switching, because Raven at no point indicated that she was a traditional woman or a Nigerian woman who knows how to cook stew. So I don't think that's fair.
Okay, so the thing is, I think if SK wanted a Nigerian woman, a traditional Nigerian woman, he would be in Nigeria looking for his wife. All right, I think that because he's dating in America, he's dating on the show in particular. The chance of him finding a traditional Nigerian bride on the show is minimal. Right, there aren't many to be found in a situation that is going to allow them to go on the show at the same time as him. That would just be a weird twist of fate if that ever happened. So I think he is open to dating someone who may not exactly fit his criteria in terms of the traditional element, but someone that's willing to learn about his culture and maybe uphold elements of it. Because let's face it, if you don't carry on traditions, they get diluted and eventually lost, right? So I think that he is. I just saw JG say there's plenty of Nigerian women in America. Yes, I know there are, but just not on the show. They're not on the show. And he's got to choose from the women on the show. And he knows that if he goes on a show like this, the chance of him finding one of the many Nigerian women in America is slim. It's not a show for that, right? It's more than likely he's going to find someone from a different culture, and then they may have to adapt and learn about each other's backgrounds, each other's cultures, and embrace it in order for it to work. So I don't think he's necessarily enforcing it strongly, but I think it does play a part in why he made the decision he did. Right? Like I said, the sisters, the women in his family, when they were talking to Raven, they emphasized it. He didn't. The women in the family emphasized what would keep a good man or keep a man in their culture happy. And you saw her face. She gave crazy face to it at the end. So, I'll give SK the benefit of the doubt. I really didn't see anything from him to indicate that it was a cold, calculated move and he was just going to press the button to nuke her at the altar. No, I think he does care about her, genuinely wants the relationship to at least have a try, have an attempt at working. And like I said, for me, the main problem is the navigation of the logistics. Who's going to travel to who? How long is he going to be on break from semesters? All these different things can be worked out. But adopting someone's culture can be something that brings you closer together or makes the person feel like you're interested in them a bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, unfortunately, JR, that's a more digestible theory. I think the real theory is I don't think he cares about the stew. I don't think he cares about any of that, or he wouldn't have picked Raven. Because let's be honest, he could go on the show, but no one forced him to propose to anybody. I think the problem is that JR, SK is two words. SK had to break Raven.
Rejecting?
No, SK had to break Raven. And that's the ugly truth. And let me tell you, you're looking funny, but he had to, because his real issue with her was not the stew. It was her lack of conforming. It was the lack of submissiveness. He didn't care about the he can fix his own food, clean his own thing. He didn't like that she was giving him so much pushback. So what do you do with a pretty girl that usually is used to telling people what to do? You break her. And nice dudes will do it. They will, because at some point, if they don't break you, you're going to be like Brennan, and you may not be able. You're looking, because you're not doing it to be mean, but you're doing it because if he never humbled Raven, she would have been on her train doing whatever the hell she wanted to do, telling him that he had to pay for her house with his FAFSA money. So if he did not humble her and break her at the wedding, it wasn't going to work. That's why he did it. Because at so many opportunities, if it was about some stew, if it was about all those other things, he could have gave her a heads up, any heads up. Any heads up. He didn't want to, because he had to bring her down, because now you see her, she's so meek. She's so happy to be with him. She ain't giving no talk back. Broke her. And he gonna rebuild her. He lifted her back up, but he had to humble her real quick. That's what happened. That's what happened.
But Seaway, she's not broken, and being happy is not being meek. Like, there's nothing wrong with just seeing someone happy and enjoying the relationship for what it is at the moment. She's not broken.
I'm not saying she's broken like Colleen broken. Yeah. She's not like a broken spirit. I mean, like, he had to like bring her down a few notches so they can lift up together. That's what I'm saying he did. I'm not saying he left her like down and out. I'm saying if she would have kept on going the way she was going, it wasn't going to work for him. It was SK acted like he was a Brennan, but he low-key wasn't, is what I'm saying. So if he didn't bring her down 2 notches, he was going to be a Brennan, and that's not who he is. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I'm just saying that he, I hear your point, but like I said, she isn't broken, and I think what he did was inject a dose of reality. Yeah, those aspirations that she has about having her bills paid while they're not living together and all that, that's he's not feeling that at all, right? So stop the lofty expectations, because they're unrealistic. The reality is he's going college in far away, and he has feelings for her. He wants to make it work with her. So, like I said, I can only call what I see. I didn't see the snake behavior where it felt like he was leading her on, and then at the altar he's gonna break her heart and shatter her confidence or anything like that. That's what some of the other dudes have done that we've spoken about. But for him, I feel like he does have some element of culture that he wants to keep, and he also wants to keep a level of reality instead of having these lofty aspirations about how you want to be taken care of. At the moment, that's not possible. So learn to love the man for who he is. He can learn to love her for who she is. And eventually, if it gets to the point where they do cohabit and he's finished his course and they can, do the relationship thing in a more structured fashion, then, fair play to them. But relationships aren't easy at the best of times. And, you're going to have ups and downs. And the distance may play a part in that too, because you can't kiss and make up if you're so far away. So, yeah, I'll just give him the benefit of the doubt. I didn't see the snake behavior. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, yeah. But SK is a bastard, yeah. I ain't gonna lie to you. Listen, at first I didn't see it. And he is a dark master. I have to congratulate him. Because the game is the game on this occasion, right? This nigga pulled it out. Excuse my N-word use. Let me tell you something. And I'm in my head, I've been listening to the conversation, but I've been going back in my head just about from the very beginning SK to the end SK, right? But when I say about I almost have a little bit of admiration for SK in this situation. Other people, when they're manipulative, I'm like, yeah, you're dark and we need to get rid of you. There's a little bit of admiration here, yeah? Let me be real, okay? So when obviously, SK first started, yeah, I told you, there was one thing I always told you guys, he's a bullshitter. Part of his bullshitting was when he said, I don't mind you being how you are. I love you how you are. I love this. And, when Raven, you can be the Raven you want to be. And I said to myself, he's chatting shit. Yeah, he's chatting shit. At that point, everything else was cool. But at that point when he said about, oh, Raven, you can be basically anything you want to be, whatever, with me, whatever, I said, nah, I said he chatting. I ain't gonna lie to you, he was chatting. It was cap. Because I knew that this brother definitely didn't want to let her have her way, okay? So he was chatting doo-doo. Let me be very real with you, okay? All right, but what I would say is, there was definitely issues within the relationship. I know. There were definitely some issues within the relationship that, I think he had issues with, right? I think one of the biggest issues was family. One, he never met them. He don't know what the frick's going on with that family. The alluding to the fact that they could be racist. I'm sure he took it all into account. He met the friends and realized the friends are also moving mad. I think that also was taken into consideration. I definitely believe that part of it was on that, right? Okay, I definitely believe that as well, right? But if you know anything about our brothers in the Niger, okay, them niggas come in different sizes.
Proceed with caution.
And different sounds. I'm just saying that's our big brother. Ghanaians, that's our big brother. Okay, when you've been watching your big brother work, some of the moves. Okay, I'm just gonna be real with you. Okay, I'm not look. You know me. I love the dark arts, so I'm admiring some of the game that he's spitting. Okay, listen, this brother, and here's my thingy. The reason why it works is because both of them are very similar. She's emotionally unavailable, and so is he. He's emotionally unavailable because the reality is he hasn't dealt with his daddy issues, with his dad having multiple. What do you say about his parenting about his dad having multiple wives situation? He ain't dealt with that yet. You forgot about that.
But that is quite common in that culture, though, right?
Yeah, and then what happens after is also quite common. They have multiple wives too. So listen, I'm telling you. Remember, this guy's told us he doesn't want to do that. He wants to change the game. Look, I'm not shooting the brother down. I'm just explaining the game, guys. Okay, I'm not leaving you guys. Don't worry about it. Okay, all right. All I'm saying is, yeah. This brother hasn't dealt with the fact that his dad had multiple fathers. So what happens is, this makes you crafty. If I take the information from Corey, what he said, Scorpio, let's call it Scorpio. I'm going to call it, you don't want to show your hand, right? What that really is there's a part of you that's emotionally detached, which allows you to play this crafty game where you can hold information back for whenever you want to hold it back for. It's part of the game. If you use it to your advantage. Yes, Corey, you know what to talk about. You use it to your advantage. So Corey was like, all right. But that's the reality, right? So he's got the father figure who obviously had multiple wives, right? Has he dealt with the emotional aspect? I don't know if he's dealt with the emotional aspect, right? So that means now already he can easily emotionally detach from the situation. Now when you're dealing with Raven, that whole I'm creating that safe space for you, do whatever you want to do, he's emotionally unavailable and so is she. Because the way she behaved with Bartese told me all I need to know about Raven. You understand? So when you meet people, I told you, emotionally unavailable people always meet who? Emotionally unavailable people. He played a very smart game, okay? Very, very smart game. It is part of his natural demeanor. He's a more chill, calmer guy, okay? That's not fake. That's not him playing. That's just the way that he handles his business. But let's be real, I said this from the very beginning. Everybody knows before you get to the altar what your decision is. Okay? Everybody knows your decision. Okay? Alright? Now, if you know some things about some Nigerians, not every Nigerian, but if you know something about Nigerians, especially their mums, they become, listen, their mums can do a lot of damage you don't even realize. Okay? So, at first, when I said the mum went over there, I was like, oh, maybe the mum really liked her. I said, actually, if you know anything about some Nigerian mums, they can play your face better than the sons can. Okay, she's like, oh, I really loved you from the beginning. I said, nah. You might be surprised that mum is really capping. She ain't want to really see you either, to be honest. You understand? That's my personal theory. That's not necessarily the truth. And so for me, I think watching, SK, right? I do believe you had to. I don't like saying humble in this case, but we can call it humbling. He just knew how to make sure that, you know what, there are levels between me and you. Just in case you thought you could play me and get me to pay for your things halfway through schooling, everything like that. I just want to let you know that's not what you're not gonna have it like that. You understand? So I'm not buying that. At first I was buying that he was a yes man, but it's the way he reacted when the girl said he was a yes man and he had no real reaction. Oh, no, not a yes man. And the brother came out and did what he did. I said, nah, this guy is calculating. He's quieter. And I think that's why I personally probably didn't pick up it till a little bit later on, because he's a bit more quieter. But that brother, yeah, he got the game on lock. I'm going to say that. He got the game on lock. That's my personal opinion. Now, I know the guys will have
Kojo for being...
Hold on, let me. I just want to. If he said something about the Scorpio, I just got. Can't let it go. Can't let it go. All right, so Kojo, you said he's emotionally detached.
I believe I said the dad part causes the emotional issue, but then if you add the Scorpio part, it makes it easier also by what you said to be emotionally detached. I mean, you can play the game much more easier. But go on.
So I will say this. Scorpios can give you the best of both worlds. They can be the most committed people in the world. They can be the best at being committed, or they can be the best at the manipulation. They can be the best at sabotage. They can be the best at revenge. That's the other side of the coin that Scorpios will normally show, right? The vengeful part. But you have a choice to make. You can make the choice to be good, or you made a choice to be evil. In his case, yes, he made a choice to be a little evil on this one. But I will say that's not all Scorpio's choice. We have the power to do it. Just like most men, most women, anybody really can manipulate if they really put their mind to it. But you have to make that choice, whether to do right or do wrong. I'm on the side of right, just to make that clear.
I don't think he did it because he's Scorpio though. I think that's, look, he saw a beautiful girl. Once he actually physically saw her, remember as well, you have to. I'm thinking about how the brother might be seeing this, right? In the pods, it might not be so glaring, but obviously, once the guys talk, they probably all, as they mentioned, they kind of felt that Raven was kind of a pretty girl anyway. It's when they get out of the pods, you see the person. How are you going to maneuver now? I got to make sure I handle things. Let girl know that listen, it's not me. You can't do me dirty. You understand? Yeah. This guy's gonna, and again, if your dad has had multiple wives and you mentioned about going the opposite way, you know what I mean? Like that already can set some abilities in you, some latent abilities in you that get awoken at the right time. You know what I mean? You become an X-Man at the right time. And I'm just saying, if he wanted to marry her, he could have.
No, I know that part I disagree on. Because I honestly feel that if SK had said yes, Raven would have said no. That's how I honestly feel. I don't think she would have said no. Raven would have said no. Because there's a lot that's being asked of her. That's why the blind side come in wasn't there. That's why, she walked out. She had a couple of tears, but she was mostly smiling, trying to hide the tears, whatever the case is, however you want to see it. But I do think Raven would have said no also. So she was a little relieved at the fact that he did it first. Just a little bit.
But say no for what though? But why him say no and then still date him after?
Because dating is different. Both of them open to dating. He said, "Why say no and then date her after?" So both of them.
I know why he's dating her after.
You know what I'm saying?
Because he don't want her.
This is the thing also.
I don't think he wants her.
In the beginning, in the beginning, SK knew that she was not really attracted to him. We talk about this
I
all the
agree.
time. We talk about this all
I
the time.
agree.
If you're not attracted to me, I'm looking for an exit. Let me get up
Say it
out of
again,
here.
sir.
Let me go. Let me go. So that was number one. When he realized that, hey, where's the door? Show me the door.
Then
I'll
take
play
the
the
door.
game. Say
Well,
what?
then take the door, though, Corey.
And he did.
He did.
He just left
No,
it open.
but
He
took
left it
he,
open, and she
Right.
jumped to it.
Bruno Mars.
Yeah,
but,
he
but
left
he's
that
not
door
taking
open.
the door
and
because
she danced to it.
there's
Let-
still
He can't be
Wait,
taking the door when he grabbing
I
a
want to say
handful of
something.
ass.
We've been quiet. I've been quiet down here. So
I've been quiet too.
also, yeah, I know, but I spoke first. So
I don't care.
from this, well, I do. So we're
Personal.
gonna talk from the Scorpio standpoint, right? You know what I'm saying? I think that at the end of the day, he can't make somebody do what they don't want to do. And we done put a lot of 10 on 2 about Raven and her looks and how much of a baddie she is and all the men that she's had experience with. So she should go to those options. But no, she's choosing to continue to be with SK. So that is her choice to continue to do so. Now, how they got there, how they landed, I ain't gonna go tit for tat and tussle with y'all. There's all sides. But I do think, hey, look, where's her big grown decisions? Where's her big grown draws and accountability for the decisions that she's making? She's choosing to stay in the situation.
I don't think nobody debated that though.
Well, that's my opinion. I'm not trying to debate. That's my opinion.
They both making the choice to be in the situation. They
just
both
confused
got
who
big
said
draws
she had no
on, and they both
accountability.
grabbing each other up on stage. So they're both happy being together. Okay. So there's that. I'm in between Black and Seaway with it because, like I said last week, I wasn't so sold on the way he kind of just not went and said on anything and checked on her. But obviously, they had conversation at some point because here we are now. Okay, whether the conversation was started by her, it was started by him, that really don't matter because he got a handful of behind and she was loving it. So they're doing just fine all the way around. As far as what JR is saying, that traditional thing, he was up and down screaming that he don't want a traditional woman. He ain't got a traditional woman. He not worried about no stew. I would look funny too if a mom sat here and told me you need to have stew on the stove every single day and I'm a chef. Be like, yeah, no, we're not having stew on the stove every day, but he will have a cooked meal. So that's really what the translation was. And the cooked meal might not come from me all the time. He gonna eat though. Don't worry about it. Okay. We ain't gonna never worry about that in this house. She got close to the mom. I ain't gonna say the mom wasn't playing no games, but I think the mom was kind of genuine because she wants to marry her son off or whatnot. And I do think once SK sat down with his family. They talked it out. He thought about it. Him and Raven had an actual real sit down. I really do believe that his decision was his decision, and I'm not going to fault him for that because that if it wasn't sitting right in his chest all the way up until he got in front of her face, there was no warning he was going to be able to give her. And she did say it, she wasn't blindsided for the fact that she felt that his nervousness and she wasn't sure. So that means she wasn't all the way sold either, like a fool, like the other one, Nancy, on believing that this man was all the way in it. Now, Nancy has her own reason because of that stupid little bracelet that he gave her. That was a whole nother lie right there. But Raven was not all the way sold on him as far as him saying yes because of a lot of their differences as far as the family thing. Even I believe even he was thinking about her family not being there. Nigerians are very big on having the families there at weddings, period. It doesn't matter if you're cultured or not cultured, or a part of their culture or not a part of their culture. They're really just big about having the whole family unit dynamic there together to agree on this unit. That is a fact. Now, all this about so he can't bring his culture over there. He wants to keep a part of his culture. My mom is Belizean. My dad is from New Orleans. Both of them have two different cultures. Both of them have not lost any part of their culture in 30 something years that they have been together. They have accepted each other's culture and they party in each other's culture halfway. No, neither one of them is transitioned all the way into the other one's culture at all. So Raven can accept his culture. It does not mean that she has to be fully integrated into it. That's what she was doing at the wedding by even getting the head tie on put on her. It was still her keeping some of his culture in it and keeping some of her in it. That's respectable, because pretty much the whole wedding was SK. All of his family is there. She don't have no family there. Her friends really didn't need to be there because they wasn't in agreement of the damn wedding in the first place, but she needed somebody to back her, I guess. So pretty much the whole wedding was SK's family. She had nothing. So dang, can she have the dress? I don't know why she had to be in a full Nigerian outfit to make this a whole thing when she's not even Nigerian. That makes absolutely no sense. But, you know, like I say, they're still together now. My only downfall with him was how he handled it afterwards, but he did have red flags. He did have genuine concerns, and I'm not mad at him for saying no. And I respect the way that she kind of handled it at the end. She didn't blow up her family. Well, she didn't have no family there, but the friends didn't go all in the face and saying this, that, and the third. And she still came back and chose him, and all on IG defending her man, and told all you heifers to get out of his inbox because she said she seen y'all. So y'all stay out that man's inbox, please, okay? Because she sees y'all and she's writing y'all names and number down because she's a little insecure, so she still will fight y'all for her man, okay? But yes, Kojo, he is calculated. We know that. He worked in the square department, so he gonna make his moves very calculated. He is a chess player, not a checker player. So he got his queen. There we are.
You know, there's a very good comment in the comment section that says, Kojo, I have a question. He said, if SK would have said yes and Raven said no, will we still have the same talking points here? I'm wondering.
There's a reason why they asked SK to go first, though.
Yeah, exactly. Why?
So I mean, I understand the question, but there's a reason why they asked him to go first. It's not like they ask every man to go first. They interchange it specifically. Mm-hmm. They have their reasons because they see certain things behind the scenes. I'm guessing they probably ask them individually, potentially what their answers may be. So clearly he already had it. That's why I said nobody can tell me they come to the altar and didn't know their answers. You know what I mean? So they already knew the answers. So yeah. So for me, with the SK situation, he already had his answer locked. I would say as well that because of his, I think the kind of woman that he really wants is maybe someone like Raven, but then, you know, you want there is Nigerian, as in someone who's born in Nigeria, and then there's Nigerian, someone who's born in America, so who has a mix of the cultural ideas. I think he probably would prefer someone with a mix of the cultural ideas, somebody who understands the Nigerian culture and the things that go over. Because let me tell you something about Nigerians. And Nigerians are very specific with culture. People like Zim and SA, they're very specific entries into their culture, like, you know, and they're very strong with it, you know what I mean? So you will buy into it or you'll die without it, because they don't give you a choice. So that's why the wedding and everything like that was all the way it was and everything, because like their culture dominates. So there's no way Raven might have wanted to barter. There is no bartering because the culture dominates. They don't play with their culture. So if she was gonna buy into it and you want a Nigerian man, this is what you're gonna deal with. You either get humbled or you leave. You haven't got a choice. So that's why I was saying about SK's dominance, in that it's quiet, but there's a dominance because of the culture, the way it portrays itself. You either join or you don't get involved. But I would say that with I personally do think, this might not end in a marriage. If I'm honest with you, this is given I'm gonna play for 1 or 2 years while I'm in school. I'm doing my thing. At the end of the 3 years, whatever, I finished my schooling, whatever, I've leveled up, I've got my money. Raven, a dime a dozen more girls will come like you. My money paper's set. There'll be a girl that I actually want, that has every attribute that I actually need. I'm a go collector. So I'm just saying, that's my personal thought. If she doesn't put some work in right now, start cooking them stews, start getting involved, because as much as you were saying you want an independent woman, when men say independent, what they don't mean completely independent. What I mean is have your money so you can live your life, but don't be independent of me. Okay? Don't get it twisted. I didn't say be independent of me. Be independent with your money, but don't be independent of me. Have money that you can live your lifestyle, but make sure you don't be independent of me. That's what I think he meant by independence. So all that chat he was talking about, Love and Raven being independent, cap. And he was capping. Okay? All right? As Sean would say, you bumping some gums. Okay? All right? That boy is playing. So yeah. Go for it, Sean. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
Sure.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna add, like, yeah, I was even saying in the private chat, the Nigerian culture runs super deep. I have a few close friends. They don't play, and let me tell you, the women are also very strong, but the culture runs deep. And the one thing, and we talked about it, the mama gave her the keys to the castle when she told her, no matter how much money you make, you humble yourself. She gave her the keys to the gate. Now Raven still want to be, she want to be city girls up and try to like win it, but nah, the dominance is going to rise through, and not everybody's going to come out the gate swinging so you can see them. Yeah, he's going to have that quiet confidence to be like, nah, this ain't going to work, because the humility wasn't there. She was leading with all the no's, what I'm not going to do and what I want to do, and this is what I want. So hey, he was also saying, well, these things are important to me, and kind of sitting back and watching, maybe not being as mouthy as he could have been, or as upfront and forward with all the points that were important to him. But the ladies told him, if anything, anybody knows, the African mothers, they gonna tell you. Now, you could do what you want. The sister even told her. The sister was a young woman. She even said, listen, I have it too. She's like, I go to work, I come home, it's still there. And it may not be the stew literally, but figuratively, the openness, the being malleable, and none of those things did Raven show. It wasn't a malleability. It wasn't a peaceable and an ability to work. There was no fit, feminine, and submissive. It was, you gonna come to my way because I'm pretty, and pretty don't get you everything you think it's gonna get you all the time. So that's my thoughts.
Okay, so my lie detector went off again. Okay, this time it's in the conversation that, well, the question was asked of Raven and SK, as far as when did they have sex? When did they get physical with each other, right? And Raven said she wanted to make sure this was done after they got married, right? Then she said it didn't happen until after the wedding. So there was no wedding. I mean, they didn't, it was a no at the wedding. So I think that it goes back to happening before, whether they did happen before or after, it really doesn't matter. I don't know why that's such a big secret, but because the way she phrased that answer of saying it happened after the wedding, as if they actually went through with the marriage, is like, there'll be an odd time to do that. I would think that you would need some time to kind of decompress, take all that out, that shock wave out and everything like that. Take that out before you decided to bed this guy, when you spent all this time before and you didn't get it done, when you didn't have all that going on. So to me, it just seems like it's something hidden there. Just a thought.
He got them emotional cookies. That's what that was. He done broke her down, and he got it. She crying on his shoulder, and he rubbing on her back. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, the little wedding dress done slid down to her ankles and stuff. You know how it work, Corey.
Hey, I know. Okay, so Kojo, when you made a statement when you said that it's going to be a temporary thing, right? You don't see a wedding there. I agree with you. I agree with you because of what I said before. He knows that she's not attracted to him, right? But he put the stinger on. I'm sorry. He did that. Now she's into him. He did the little massage thing with the crease there. I told you all about. He did all that, won her over that way, but he's still not going to marry her because at the end of the day, she's not attracted to him.
And also, his price is still rising. Let's just put it
Yeah,
there.
DMs are popping.
That's
DMs
a big thing right now. Yeah, that's a big thing. But in her defense, I'm not going to say this. that she would marry him, he would marry her, or nothing like that. But this is what broke Raven to even being vulnerable with this whole situation, because what she was crying in the pod is, though she was being superficial with a lot of it, she was wanting somebody to see her for her. That's what he actually did to get her to open up to him or whatnot, is actually look at her for more than her beauty. And he even explained that at the reunion or whatnot. And that's what she's been crying for. That spoke out to her soul. And that's what got her to say, you know what, let me go ahead and break my walls down for you. Now, like I said, I cannot predict the future if they would get married or whatnot, because there's a whole bunch of things that can happen in the 2 years that can change all of that. California got some beautiful ladies up there. So, you know, brother might be seeing some other things. I don't know. But, you know, that was a good way to show that sometimes your attraction for us ladies is not for your looks or whatnot, it's for how you treat us. That's what it really is. That's what really won her over, is the way she was treated. That's the reason Bartese got cut off so quick. And I'm not going to say she was into Bartese or nothing like that, but all he kept doing is pleasing to her attraction levels without understanding who she is either. Now, I ain't saying he had any right to understand anymore, because she started jumping Jackson on his behind, but you know, it is what it is.
I must say, I don't think that brother's ever gonna forget, you know, that this girl was not compliant. He ain't never gonna forget, because I'm telling you now, it's gonna rear its head. Okay, because I don't think Raven is the compliant type. I just don't think that aspect of expectation too, that she wanted paying bills, that ain't going away. That ain't going away. It's all gonna be there. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, if he's as deep as he's saying he's deep, and also as well, like, I'll be honest, I'll say this as a caveat, not necessarily it's actually true or anything, but sometimes people can seem like they actually understand you, but really all they're doing is mirroring you. And what I mean by that is, if they're both emotionally unavailable, you get me because I actually understand where you're coming from. I don't actually fully understand you. I get you because you are carrying the same energy I'm carrying. So it feels like I'm seeing you and I'm knowing you. But actually, really, all it is, we're exactly the same in that particular area. But that's just my opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean it's actual truth. But yeah, I think the SK situation, I think listen, he gonna get a new girl. Give it 2 years. Give it 2 years. Give it 2 years. He definitely gonna find another girl in 2 years' time. Once he's had his fun, he's had sex with Raven, excuse my language, and done all the little stuff that he wants to do with Raven with the little baddie that he's got underneath his arm, okay? And he gonna end up falling for some Nigerian girl on campus who gonna be cooking stew, jollof rice, you know, eba, cooking goosey, cooking all the traditions, okay? That's the girl that she gonna be thinking it would never match her on looks, but he gonna end up marrying her. I'm sorry. It's gonna be a painful day.
Do they follow like the couples that still stay together but don't get married too? I can't remember last year. I just remember all the married couples.
I don't know if they followed them per se. No, I don't know if they do necessarily follow them. I wish they did.
Might not know. Yeah, I guess we might not know if they don't follow these two, I guess.
Because and also as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, because I was just gonna say, was Zanab, I think they did say we'd like to see you, like to follow up on you in a year, something like to that lines with her or whatever. Yes. And stuff like that. So, but I didn't know if they were like serious or they just mean they were, you know, just check on her.
They might do.
Yeah, remember they do the like, where are they now? So I think
everybody.
They did it last season. They did it.
I know, but I was like, is it just the married couples or is like
no? It's
everybody
all of them.
they had?
Because remember when they were at that house and what's her name with the curly hair had the party and girlfriend was acting all crazy and they were there, so they follow up with them to see where they are.
It was just so many that was married last year, so it's just confusing me if there was anybody that wasn't
Remember
married.
Sal and what was the girl, the one that he left?
Salvador, yeah.
And
I forgot her name.
What's her name that was acting a little funny with Jared?
The Indian chick.
They did the Indian girl and then they did Sal. Remember, because they were being rude. Sal's girlfriend was being rude to her. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but yeah, I remember.
Mallory. Somebody put it. Mallory.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's we'll get to see.
Okay.
We'll find out. I'm sure they'll still be together by then. That'll have been almost at the 2 year mark. So they'll still be together by then, going strong. You know, honeymoon phase ain't even over yet. Yeah, I
Because
mean,
I,
what's that face did an interview? Brennan and Alexa did
Alexa.
an interview recently, and they're still, they said it's been a year and a half that they've been together, married.
Yeah,
Okay.
they still playing happily married. What I was gonna say, the thing they're gonna be in the honeymoon phase for quite some time because as long as he's gone, it's gonna be that long distance attraction. Like every time I see you, it's that automatic. I'm on
Speaking of
jumping on
Jay,
you and all that and stuff like that. And while you're gone, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you. But then when we both are really in each other's city, that's what's
come on,
gonna really
Jay.
determine where they go from there. Because when we can see each other like every day, all day, that's where we're gonna find out how their
Now the
relationship
attitude gonna
really
show.
is. Hmm.
interesting. I just want to go on record that I disagree with both of you. I think it's going to last approximately 4 to 7 months. No more. No
Not
more.
you over here doing the Price is Right numbers,
4 to 7.
high or low.
4 to 7. That's it.
Anybody want to go higher over
That's a very
seven
specific
months in one
window,
day?
Corey.
Sean, you got
Say
seven
what?
months in one day?
I got 3 months and 90 days.
Not 3 months and 90
And
days. You
Six
said.
3 months and 90 days.
How you gonna have 3 months and 90 days, Sean?
You finish or you done? Are you
Now
finished or are you done?
you giving baby numbers
You
like
mean 9 months?
I'm medicated, guys. Ignore me.
In 9 months.
Listen,
That's
listen.
when
90
their
Say,
days is
mama's
3 months.
kids
That's
is like 4 years
4 months.
old and they be talking about they
Exactly.
48 months.
48. They're 49 months old. Oh, come on. Cut it out.
listen.
Cut
Right.
it out. I couldn't even do the math.
Listen. I say 4 to 7 months because long distance relationship is a lot of hard work. Okay, you do it's a job on its own besides just maintaining a relationship. But the reason why I think it's going to be short also is because SK is getting these DMs. You know what I'm saying? He's getting DMs probably at a rate he's never received them before. He is what, like I said before, I would consider him to be a late bloomer. So with him being a late bloomer, this is going to be a type of reaction that he's never had before. He's going to go out here and try to live his best life, especially in California. So I do think that it's not going to last as long because of that. It's a lot going on for him. Raven's the same way. I'm pretty sure her DMs are popping as well.
Well,
Um,
they said you already passed your limit right now, Corey, because they said this been filmed a year and a half already.
this will be a year and a half ago.
That's what the chat is saying.
I know.
Using them glasses for the wrong
Mission
thing.
done.
No. How about four?
We on Kojo.
Sorry.
We back on Kojo time. And they got 6 more months.
Yeah, only about to graduate.
It's like Powerball. Ain't nobody gonna win. Ain't none of them gonna get picked.
Goodness gracious.
Gonna roll over to next week, baby.
Man.
You want to start your numbers from today?
Yeah,
6
let's
more
start
months.
from today. Let's start from today. 4 to 6 months from the 4 to 7 months from the reunion.
Oh, damn, Corey, might have happened already too.
Wow. No, I think
I know
the
it should
reunion
be.
is recent, though, right? When they film the reunion.
I'm not sure when the reunion is, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when the reunion is. But it is quite recent. Go for it, Joe.
Listen, Bartese is probably blowing up Ravens DMs, but the fact of the matter is, we can't underestimate the power of Fufu. And we know that SK, being as cultural as he is, man, he's probably laying down serious business in the bedroom. So, look, that's one of the things that may keep them together. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Um, you know, as Corey said, long distance relationships are hard, but they're hard. They're harder if you make them harder, right? If you're always keeping that love vibe, that I miss yous, that I love yous, all those type of things. If you're watering each other still from a distance, it can still work, because when you do meet up, then it's going to be, you know, a reunion that kind of makes you want to enjoy each other's time every minute of the day together before he goes off again. So it can work. But like you guys said, it's probably so far gone since the reunion now. You're probably about to graduate in the next month or two or something, you know. So yeah, if they are still together, they may be seeing each other a lot more times in a short period of time. So yeah, like I said, I just think that the cultural aspect is one aspect. It's not the whole thing. I've never thought that Raven is going to conform and be a traditional Nigerian. She's not that, and he respects her for who she is. But when people say you're never too old to stop learning, it also applies to learning your partner. You're never too old to stop learning new things about your partner, finding things that you have in common, learning about past experiences. So while you're still attracted to each other for whatever reasons, maybe in Raven's case, it isn't so much physical, it may be other elements. While he's attracted to her personality and the things she presents, but still not being the Nigerian woman that he's probably accustomed to, the traditions and stuff. Let's not get it twisted. People get together every day and they're not necessarily from the same walk of life or the same cultures. So it's not hard, it's not impossible. And Raven's going to be Raven and SK is going to be SK, but there is that adaptability that has to take place, because it's like finding interest in what your partner is doing or how they are. That's all it is. It's taking an interest, and then maybe from time to time you do some things that are similar to that interest, right? Or foster that interest. So yeah, like I don't think that SK is necessarily conniving or there's some skullduggery going on. I didn't get that. He may have hesitation, but again, it's normal for some people, probably for a lot of people, marriage is a big deal. You probably only want to do it once, so you better make sure you do it right, and you make sure that the relationship seems stable enough for it to work and last the test of time.
How do you go forward and go back? How many people make it where they're at the altar and they say, do you know what, maybe not the right thing, or they get engaged, then they de-engage, and they get married after? How many people do you know do that? It's very rare.
It is very rare. But the other thing is, how many people do we know that get turned down at the altar but are still prepared to date the person straight afterwards? That's even rare.
We had, well, it didn't date straight away, but I don't know if they date straight away, but we know that obviously people do mess around with each other after. Do you know
After
what I mean?
being turned down at the altar, like rejecting in front of your whole
they
family.
mess around. Mess around is different from date, though. So you're right. So it's, you know what I mean. But then again, maybe he couldn't get the goods, access to the goods without the relationship, though. And I'm not saying that. Listen, I'm not mad at him, bro. I'm saying the game is the game. One understand. I just don't see him marrying her, because what's going to change in the next 2 years? What's going to change? Do you get what I'm saying? Maybe she might get a little bit more malleable, but the reality is nothing much is going to change. You know what I mean? Where you are financially will change, yes, but really and truly, nothing much is really gonna change. He ain't gonna marry her. She should have just left and gone on. But security is nice for both people.
I think it's probably comfort, and they bonded over a process, but sometimes in these they trauma bonded, because they both were in this very tense, very precarious situation where they had to make some interesting choices, right? And then they got to know each other, and you say her feelings grew. I'm gonna trust the ladies. It developed, but listen. So she was like, let me go for a sure thing in terms of what she felt versus trying something new to be back out on the streets. So she was like, let me go for cuffing season. I think it's going to be very short lived. I do. I don't know the months, the seasons, or the days, or the years, but I feel like it's going to be very short lived.
I think there's also another element, which is like with Bartese only being attracted to her physical, that gives the indication that his head will be turning anytime he sees someone that looks more attractive to her, right? Whereas SK, he likes her for her personality, who she is. And in order to get to know someone, like personality-wise, it takes a lot longer. It takes a longer period of time. So that may be an element of comfort for her in SK rather than going with Bartese, right? fact of the matter is from what we've seen, she's not necessarily attracted to his physical. Now he's not going to change, but we have heard the lady say that women grow into attraction. So two things can be true in that sense.
Oh, so you got this question up here, huh?
Yep. Because since they want to ask us these type of questions, I thought you guys should answer it.
I mean, who doesn't want somebody to be agreeable? It makes for a long lasting relationship, right? You know, if you have a partner, a spouse, and she's, you know, easy to get along with, you know, open to the vision, right? You know, we as men want to be leaders, you know, hopefully you're in a marriage or a relationship with the right man where you feel comfortable leading. You know, leadership requires compliance. Nobody wants to fight and tussle back and forth over little things. It's, you know, can be exhausting.
I would definitely agree with that, Sean. It's not necessarily that he wants to control her, but there has to be a level of malleability with both of them. I'm sure SK occasionally is going to go out and get burger and fries, and want to go and watch football or baseball games, or maybe even take up Pilates to bond with her. You know, like he said on the show, he didn't even know what Pilates was. He went and researched it. Maybe that's something you might get into with her. Like, so it's not just a one-sided thing, but in reality, if there is an expectation for men to show leadership qualities, then there has to be a level of compliance when he displays his leadership, because that's what makes him a good, effective communicator and leader. So that's why there's the emphasis on compliance on Raven's part at the moment. If the power dynamic was different, then yeah, SK would have to be compliant with Raven. Like, so if it was like a similar to a Stasia and Nate situation where she's earning X amount and it's her house and her rules, then in that situation it will be reversed. The guy would have to be more compliant because she's the one that is leading in that aspect. So that's what it is. No shade.
Listen.
So
Go for it, Corey.
So JR, you were saying that there are situations where the woman is the leader in household. Did you say that?
Yeah, so what the example I used was, like, say for example, you have someone earning a $400,000 a year, right? The guy she's with is earning significantly less than that. Then she's got her own house for them to move into. Like, it's going to be very difficult for her to be compliant in letting him lead the situation, because it's her house and it's her money. And when they get into arguments, don't get it twisted, she is going to emphasize that, and that's going to put him in his place. So I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but I'm saying that situation does exist. We do see more and more that power leadership is something that women aspire to because they reach certain levels in their profession. So it transcends into their personal life too.
Okay. All right. So I definitely agree that I know that's something that does happen, as far as women making more money than a man, and, that feel of having that power. But leadership truly has nothing to do with money. We make it about money in certain instances, but it has nothing to do with money. I don't care if you're no, it's not directly at you though, JR. You know what I mean? I'm just saying it's the conversation. I wouldn't care if my woman made 400K and I made 35K. My leadership is going to speak for itself. So if we're moving into her house or moving into whatever, that's going to be something that she's going to have to say yes to. you say yes to moving into your house, I mean, that's something that you will have to say because that's you bought the house, right? Just out of respect for that. But as far as being a leader, money should not have anything to do with it. So I'm just saying that just to speak on that for anyone else who may have a question about that or think that they can hold money over someone's head. You have to make sure you pick the right guy for that, not the wrong one, because
Yeah.
most men aren't built that way.
Now I agree with you, Corey,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that, like, in nowadays we're seeing more of that type of issue occur, right? So money isn't what makes someone a good leader. Definitely not. It's how they handle situations and how they navigate um, the both of you through your relationship. How they steer you through problems, through the ups and downs, how they take accountability, um, how they hold the other person accountable as well. Do you do it in a tactile way that it allows your team to be stronger, your partnership to be stronger, instead of demoralizing the person and making them submissive, right? So there are many facets to leadership. The thing is, we're seeing now a tussle more where, oh well, I'm a boss babe and I'm a this, that, the other. So okay, that's cool. And like you guys pointed out earlier, there's a difference between independent by yourself and independent in a relationship. It's codependency that's going to make the relationship work, not independence. Because if you have two people being independent, then you're not coming together. You're doing your own thing, right? So codependence is the key, and there has to be a role established for the person that makes the final decisions or the major decisions that impact your relationship.
Yeah, I definitely love those explanations as well. I mean, listen, if you are leading, if you're leading, I always say this, man. You'd rather your team be compliant. That doesn't mean that they don't have a say. It doesn't mean that they can't be responsible for things. Doesn't mean they can't, contribute. Doesn't mean they can't have a voice. Doesn't mean they can't challenge. But when you're leading, and I always say this: if you've never been a leader, you might never understand this. When you've been a leader, you understand compliance. It's so much easier dealing with people who've always got some back chat, dealing with people who always got a slick comment, dealing with people who never, when one mistake is made, instantly crucify, dealing with people who, when you say, listen, let's go left, say, I'm going right. Nobody, if you've ever led a team together, ain't nobody enjoying that. I'm so sorry. I know no matter how much you want to say this, ladies, I appreciate you, and I know some of the comments might be fair. Nobody enjoys that. Right? Nobody enjoys that. Do you know what I mean? So I always say this for the guys. We never step to women that don't respect your leadership. Never, ever, ever do it. Let the women who don't respect your leadership go with men who they actually respect. You understand? Right? I'm not trying to fight people for you to believe in my leadership. There are other people out there who you believe that who can lead you better. Let them go with them. Any man foolish enough trying to wrestle power from a woman and say, make sure you follow my lead, you're going to struggle, bro. You're going to struggle, okay? So I would say to any man out there specifically, if that woman doesn't respect your leadership, go elsewhere. Don't waste time. Don't try to marry it and then be like, you don't respect me. Like, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your breath, and you're wasting energy, and you're wasting your destiny at this point, because at this point you're costing yourself opportunity costs. There's someone out there who respects your leadership. Go there, okay? Go there, all right? It shouldn't be difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I think there's a good balance between, showing your leadership skills and earning that leadership ability, and so absolutely, there's that aspect of it as well. But if they're gonna be forcing you to, like, you better earn this leadership, you need to walk. Get out of there. You don't need to struggle, like, because I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you on Red Pill later on saying that women don't trust me. I don't want to see you there, because you're making these choices. Choose better. You understand? Yeah. Just like I said, we would say for the ladies, man, them choose better. Don't get sucked into this, because we talk. It's the same issue we're talking about with men when we say, ladies, please don't choose us when you don't find us attractive, because we know what it feels like, right? You know what it feels like when someone you deal with someone straight away, and they know what they're willing to roll with you, right? Because men as well too, when we meet each other, you know, brother, I like your energy, bro. We roll together. We don't have no long conversation. I don't need to eat from your fork. I don't need to be, sleeping over at your house to know that, this brother's a cool guy. All right, cool, brother. Let's just roll, bro. We'll just roll. You know what I mean? I met Sean for the first time, last 2 months, and it was just a smooth transition. Let's roll, bro. Easy. So it shouldn't be this difficult thing where you're trying to fight for the leadership and you're out here doing Transformer Autocon, trying to fight for the flag. And like, brother, you're wasting energy, you're wasting time. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, leave those ladies alone. They have their guy that they feel that they can be led by. Let her be led by that guy. You go your way and find that woman that says, I respect you, I respect your leadership. Because really what it is actually if they respect you. That's the honest truth. It's not even just your leadership. They respect you. So if they don't respect you, go your way. You know what I mean? Go your way. Don't waste your time. Yes, Corey.
I appreciate you saying that, Coach, because I agree with you 100%. I also think for the ladies as well that they should do the same thing you're saying for the men. You know what I mean? If you are dating a man and you don't believe in his vision, you're dating a man and you don't believe in the things he's telling you or how he leads, don't try to fit that, that circle peg into a square, like people like to say. But if you guys aren't equally yoked in that area, then you gotta read the signs. You know what I mean? Don't try to force a man to be something that he's not. And don't put yourself in a situation to be with a man that you don't respect. Bottom line. And then that's like Coach said, man, this is what it really boils down to. Who do you respect? Whose voice do you respect? Whose moves do you respect? Really what it boils down to. If you don't respect, if you're searching to be the leader in a relationship, ladies, I'm telling you, it can be an uphill battle. I know there are some women out there who feel like, ladies can lead just as well as men can. Okay, you have your thoughts, you have your ways of thinking. That's perfectly fine. You're entitled to that. But to find that type of guy, I wish you the best. I really, really do, because that is going to be quite a battle. I'm just being honest with you.
They're out there.
They're out there. They're out there, but it's not as many as women think there are. You know what I'm saying? But they're definitely out there. So yeah. So just a word from me, man, on that. That's all.
We saw that on the show anyway with Brennan, right?
Yeah. You get your Brennan. But
Brennan's following the lead of Alexia, right? So we've seen it, but it's few and far between. She doesn't have to tussle in the house about who's going to lead or anything. She's the authority, and he's happy to be with her. He's happy to be there. He knows he's marrying up, and so he's just going to support whatever she says, whatever she's going through, whatever mood she's in. He's just going to be like, yes, I'll take it. I'm with you. That's all that matters. That's the type of vibe he's giving.
Yeah. Gerard, go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, even in those scenarios where you see it is where the woman is leading the relationship or, kind of driving things most of the time, somebody grows tired in that situation. I've seen many a marriage, a relationship where the woman is driving it and the respect factor still isn't there. Either he grows tired and he's out there moving mad and doing his thing on the side because he's not feeling respected. She grows tired because she feels like she's carrying the weight and, he's, not doing what he's supposed to do. So could be cheating there on her side or just distance. I think those situations are just, it happens more than you think.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, man. And I knew you was gonna do that. That's why I said, "Go ahead, Sean." I said he's gonna say exactly what I was thinking. But yeah, it is something short-lived, though. That's all.
All right, cool. Let's move it to Zanab and Cole. Last one of the night. Zainab and Cole. Zainab and Cole. She. Zainab and Cole. What's going up, baby? Zainab and Cole, baby. What are we saying about these two? Orange Gate. What are we talking about these two? Huh? JR, why you puffing and puff, bro?
Man, like we heard people talk about manipulation and dark arts and all these different things already, right? Zainab knew that the hostility that she has towards Cole was going to rear its head at the altar, right? She is passive aggressive in some of the scenes that we've seen from her, and she's also very insecure as well because, like I said at the time, if you're being asked to rank other girls by the girl that you're with, then you're not going to do well if you put anybody else above her. Doesn't matter if she sees it that way or not, you can't do that. Why? Because then it's going to lead to her being so insecure and add fuel to any um, problems that she might have with you. It's going to intensify it. She held on to that rage and also the Colleen incident as well, like at the pool and all of that. Like she held on to that to smoke him at the altar. So that's why when they were cooking in the kitchen, she was nitpicking and nagging. She was doing all these microaggressions. And I think Cole definitely didn't read the room. Definitely should not have got into that type of situation in the first place. So he did himself no favors whatsoever. But I do think that there was an element of him expecting them to still be able to work it out. So I genuinely think he was shell shocked when she dropped the bomb at the altar because she literally skewed him in front of everybody, put him on blast, blew him up. And I think that was intentional. So that they were witnesses to what she did, and it gave her a sense of gratification to walk away after seeing him in tears. And she also sends mixed messages because on the one hand she's saying, I don't hate you, I actually, I like you, I love you, but I just can't be with you. There's a girl that's going to make you happy and it isn't me, right? Okay, you can say that, but there's no need for the scolding and the dark artsery or whatever you want to call it. That was too much in my opinion. She could have done it a different way. But then again, emotions are at play, feelings are at play, and but she knew it was over a long time ago. And the clips where he's trying to, I think he was trying to cover her, and at times he was taking accountability for a lot of the things he did, and he was apologetic, right? And she just wasn't forgiving, even though he had apologized to her, which is why he indicated to her, look, I apologized that same night. And she was like, no, you waited 2 weeks to apologize. I'm pretty sure that if he had waited 2 weeks to apologize, we would have seen her going even more nuclear until she got that apology. So I do think she manipulated some of the ladies into believing that he's some super villain. And unfortunately, when you critique or make her feel insecure about her looks or her weight with the orange gate, or you only ate a banana, you're trying to get a figure for your wedding dress, all that type of stuff. As soon as she goes back to the ladies and says anything about that, that's it. They're going to see him as a pig. So, yeah, she knew what she was doing. Designed to deliver maximum pain, maximum carnage. And then she's going to try and say, well, that's how you made me feel. Yeah, I've seen that before. So, yeah. Didn't like the way that went down, but I'm glad that they're not together because it would have been endless nitpicking every day from Zainab, every day, and he would put his foot in his mouth certain time as well, and say some things that were probably insensitive at the time. but that combination is too combustible. So I'm glad it didn't work for them, unfortunately.
Thank you, JL. Who's next, baby? See where Jay, you not there? Have we lost you?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Talk to us, Zainab. Cole.
Yeah, I mean, Cole did a lot of stuff that wasn't great throughout the season, and he admitted to it. And I think him, like Colleen, are looking back at themselves on the screen and not liking some of the things that they're doing. And so we all know that Cole has made his share of mistakes from the pool party before and after. But for me, I mean, I don't know how we're differentiating and finding differences between SK's pre-calculation and Zanab's pre-calculation. I don't understand how we find the difference. I try to be fair, and I will call Zanab out just like SK and whoever else. That was very calculated. And to me, that's what makes it nasty. Not even speaking to what she even said, but the fact that you knew that you weren't able to get past these things, and instead of giving the indication that you couldn't, you aired this man out. And there's a lot of people in life that I could air out. There's a lot of people who've done stuff that I could go for the jugular. But that's a representation of me, not what they did to me. And so, although Zanab had a reason to be upset about some things that Cole did, for her to treat another human like that, to intentionally try to bring harm to another human, speaks more about her character than anything that Cole could have done. And then she's she got dumber and dumbest following her, believing everything that she's saying. And honestly, Nancy's not even dumb, she's just bitter. And I said that from the beginning. So of course she's gonna be, trailing what Zanab is saying. But I just found that to be very disappointing, because I don't like when I feel like genuine people are hurt. And I feel like there's a lot of genuine people on this show who have flaws. Raven being one, Cole being another. My thing is that being genuine to me is first and foremost. Being flawed is something that you can work on. And I really just didn't like the sneaky underhandedness of some people. And in this case, Zanab. And I would like to say again, we're not psychologists, we're not psychiatrists. But to me, Zanab seems to have she's either dealing with severe trauma from losing her parents, or she has some type of personality disorder. I think Cole asking her if she was bipolar was for a very good reason, and he should have stuck with that instead of letting it go. Because what I've seen to the food gate is just actually bold-faced lying, and I just don't have any patience or understanding for that. She lied on that man. She gaslit that man and gaslit him the whole reunion to the point that he cried. And honestly, I just felt like he was completely bullied by the women on that panel. And then Brennan, who also counts as a woman on that panel, and completely bullied him. And I don't like that, just because he was an imperfect person. And I feel like he genuinely does feel bad for the dumb crap he said in the earlier part of the season. And I think he should feel bad for that, because if you pick this girl, you shouldn't be going around saying some of the stuff that he said. I don't think that's a debate. But but he didn't deserve what he got. And that was very heartbreaking for me to watch because I'm an empath, and that really upset me. And lastly, you know, if you have insecurities, those are your insecurities. You can't put those insecurities out on everyone else, because truth be told, the moment that Cole said that he thought Colleen was a 10 and Zanab was a 9, Zanab should have walked away there then, because she was never going to get over that. And that's when she started having all those, comparing her body, and she wanted to starve. She wanted to starve. Cole didn't make her starve. She wanted to be skinny for the wedding so she could be like Colleen. And that's sad. I mean, that's sad, but that was on her. That's her demons. You know what I mean? And she needs to deal with that, because every relationship she goes to, she's gonna take her issues with her body, her weight, whatever it is, her culture, her features, whatever her problem is, she's gonna take that every place she goes. So she really needs to deal with that, because if you're waiting on a man to build you up every day, he's gonna fall short. He's a human. He's not gonna be able to build you up every single day. You need to build yourself up. Be like Alexis. She ain't bothered at all. She'll gain 200 more pounds and she will still be confident. Channel her confidence. I mean, it's true. Be confident. It's not fair to be manipulative and nasty, because that's what she was. So don't like to see it.
Thank you, Seaway, with a reading from Revelations. Read that nigga to filth. Appreciate you, Seaway. Who's next?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Go for it.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said, Seaway. Zanab comes across to me as really someone who...
no, you're not on mute.
Yeah.
I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, Zanab comes across... Zanab comes across to me as someone who likes a lot of attention. So I won't go as far as trying to diagnose her as bipolar or anything like that. Because that's not my lane. But I will say that something is definitely there that's off balance, right? So that need to be liked, that need to be coddled, it was very, very apparent, because with every negative thing she said about Cole, the women gathered closer and closer to her. They gathered around her more and more. And she ate into that. She got into that, So now she's starting to make things up to the point of saying, okay, this happened, that happened, this. And I'm listening to her and I'm looking at Cole's face. I could tell by Cole's face that he was completely floored. Like, what are you talking about? This did not happen. What? Huh? But I was a little off balance until he said, roll the tape. When someone says roll the tape, that means they know for absolute certain it didn't happen. You're giving permission on live air to roll that tape. So I definitely felt that that Cole was like Seaway said, gaslit, through the whole course of the reunion. And then to find out, man, when they played that clip, man, just to find out that this man didn't do anything that she said he did. And then just look at her language, her body language, as he's talking to her. She was just so uninterested in what he was saying. He was trying to, get the families together, trying to surprise her other half of her family, do something nice for her in that way. And she was just not interested. So at that point, she knew that she was going to say no. Whenever that was there, you could tell that her answer was no. She wasn't really into it, So to me, it was just that overwhelming need to feel the love, to feel embraced. Something is missing in that aspect when it comes to Zanab. She desperately needs that, and that was apparent to me.
Thank you, Corey. Who's next? I'm not a mute. Who's next?
Decide how you normally do. Well, the rest of the people are off camera, so you can't be like,
Yeah, so kind of, yeah. I couldn't
Where's
do it this
Jay?
time.
Is Jay here?
I think
You don't scare Jay over off.
No, she was just talking a few moments ago.
Okay.
We were talking about
She'll
the
come
month.
back, I'm sure. I guess she'll come back.
All right, I'll go. Listen, we were doing a bit of tussling about this in Discord and in your earlier live. I have a little bit, I mean, I guess my opinion is a slight tilt to the right of what everybody is saying. You know, I definitely agree. Zanab has some revisionist history issues, and the speech for certain was a tale of two cities, because how old girl opened up in that beautiful prayer, the way she opened up with that beautiful prayer, and then she started talking about his belief in God, which I never saw. I'm like, okay, so they really did a lot behind the cameras, because I mean, unless I wasn't paying attention, I didn't really hear him talking a lot about God. But you know, I could have missed it. Nevertheless, then to only deliver that at the end, that speech where she massacred him and talked about, you know, how he treated her, how he made her feel, how he undid her self-esteem, that to me was definitely a lot. You know, yeah, I really feel like all those things she could have saved for another time, for the behind the scenes of why she said no, right? Because I do feel like she was in her rights, like everybody who did decide no, she was in her rights to say no. And if that's how she really felt about their relationship, then she should have. But I think, and this is me just learning from over the last few days about our, you know, when we had our little tete-a-tetes around accountability and, you know, some differences on how women see things differently. And I even watched a scene, and bro just made some unnecessary comments. You know, I think some of the things he said just really didn't need to be said. And does that step up to the level of, you know, what she was saying? No, I don't think so. But I also think his comments, coupled with him kicking it off with talking about how much he liked Colleen in the beginning, that messed it up. Now, look, I think Zanab's a beautiful girl, you know, and she was looking hot at the reunion. But the insecurities, you know, when you know somebody has those insecurities, he kind of stepped on them. And then, you know, going down that rabbit hole of, you know, we're going to eat a lot, save your appetite, you know, you trying to get your wedding dress body. And then he did that. That to me was kind of cringy. And it's like, oh, brother, your intent might not have been there. I think it's impact versus intent. And this is how I see it, right? Because his intentions may not have been to undo her self-esteem or to pick at her insecurities, but the impact was there. So I think sometimes you just got to own it. And even in past, you know, I looked at an interview that he did recently, and that's exactly, you know, I had that opinion before he said it, but he said that it might not have been my intentions, but I could own my actions. So that's why I don't think he's completely devious, because he did say, hey, listen, I learned. And even he covered, you know, he covered her and said she wasn't as bad as she appeared. So I don't think he is a villain, but I do think he says insensitive things. I think he's a little rude, and he could be, you know, problematic. And in the sense of, you know, when somebody is like, okay, you're going to nitpick me, well, I'm going to get you. And this is what I'm just not going to be as safe with my words as I probably should be. So that's kind of how I see him. And that's that. I do, like, again, the speech was devious. Why she had to do it that way, it was like the build up to knock him down. And her history, her recall on things. I think that was it's definitely a little off. She's more in her emotions and seeing everything through the lens of her emotions than truly seeing for what it was.
Yeah. Cole, unfortunately, was his downfall, his honesty and his naivete. Like, he doesn't know when not to be honest, when to withhold certain information or whatnot. But Zanab was a full-on hot mess. She was manipulative all the way up and through the reunion. And I'm glad they played that last clip to clear Cole, because if you pay attention to it, she herself told him in that moment she don't listen to him. He just be talking cold. He asked her, he was joining her in eating whatever she was eating at that time. He had no problem with her eating. He was telling her, like, hey, you're just going to eat some cuties and stuff like that. She was like, yeah, because I didn't eat nothing but banana today. He said, why? I offered you my poke bowl. She said, I didn't want that. So he was not making fun of her weight or anything like that. He was clearly eating with her. She just wants to hear what she wants to hear or whatnot. And because half of the time he wasn't saying what she wants to hear, he was saying his truth, that rubbed her the wrong way. And it happened since day one. And she wants to claim that 2 weeks he took to sit here and apologize for that first thing. So that night you running around asking Matt and Colleen what happened, you were fine up until you asked that. So what point was that? Was that not a couple of days later? Was that a week later? Was that 2 weeks later or whatnot? Because you were fine up until you did that. And then when you did that, you revved up and got everybody in their panties all again behind it. That's why he asked, are you bipolar? He never said she was bipolar. He asked her because she's been running hot and cold from day one. And even when it got down to the nitty gritty at the reunion, when he was saying, oh, I won't, I'll do better. I know I need to be clean or whatever. I won't leave towels around or whatever. She was back to, I forgive you. I'm over it. I don't want you to feel bad after he's pouring his eyes out on everything now. You telling him you don't want him to feel bad about nothing he's did. You forgive him. You forgave him after the day after the order, but you came in with such venom at the reunion still. So how did you forgive him? Because you're still mad, spewing at him that he body shamed you. He did all of these things when actually, if you watch the clip, all he asked her was, after she said, oh, I'm not trying to eat like that. He said, oh, you're just trying to get the wedding thing, your wedding dress thing. And everybody knows that most women do that, is I am not going to eat anything because I'm trying to fit into my wedding dress. I don't want to do this because my wedding dress and stuff. So that's where he was going with it. This is his second time being married. So he already knows the run of how it goes with this wedding thing. So it wasn't like he was trying to be condescending and make her feel some type of way. And for her to sit there at the reunion, you totally shattered my confidence and all this stuff. Like, sis, you never had them in the first place. Because if you had confidence, you would have never asked a question on what do you rate me and who do you think is what. You would have rated yourself, and that would have been it. So the fact that you're sitting here trying to make him the bad guy and then turn around and tell him, no, you're not a bad guy. You're really nice. No, I don't really say it that way. Like, you're really a good guy. Like, no, you just called him all kind of bad guy in front of his family and then came back to the reunion and did it again and basically made him beg to just have a friendship with the group. Like, that was really like terrible of her, of the person. And that, like C-Way said, that shows her characteristics more than his. Because if he did you that bad, it's just like, tell him, you could have told him about it. And I for sure know that production would have showed us anytime he was actually making her feel some type of way like that. Because they showed us all the bad stuff. Showed him being brutally honest when he didn't need to be. Showed her being picky and nitpicking at everything and stuff like that. She's been self-sabotaging this relationship since day one. She didn't want to be in it. And I gave her grace last week because I thought because of the parent situation that was part of the self-sabotaging part of it. But her insecurities and whatever else she got going on in her head won't let her have something great. And I noticed that she changed her hair color to that same color Colleen got for the reunion. Imagine that. Now, I ain't saying that you ain't got to change your hair color because I like me a good dye and lay it to the side myself, but that's really interesting that you will go for a blonde all of a sudden. So it's just like, sis, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You did a lot. And if anything, you broke him. And what was the reason? Like, seriously, what was the reason? To make you feel better about yourself? This, fellas, that's what y'all need to stay away from. That right there. Now, if y'all want to stay away from some stuff, stay away from that type of woman right there that's sitting on ready to get back at you, to put you on blast in the nastiest way like that. That's what you don't want. That's the person you don't want on the IG internet, on, you know, Hillary Clinton internet, exposing everything that happened in your relationship, because I believe she actually told certain particular lies to each of them ladies to have them on their side. The food thing was for Alexa. The him going to talk to other girls and all this stuff was for Nancy and to get Raven. And I don't even know why Raven was up in the middle of it, because you don't even hang with them ladies anyway like that. So it was a whole fool. And then you give Colleen so much grace. All right, sis.
The only thing I will say, and it's just a thought, right? You know, because I'm not really looking to tussle on this because I don't know, but I'm just like trying to put on my different hat a little bit. And I still like, we were talking about in the chat a little bit, I just think that there's a way you can like micro nitpick at somebody. And like, if somebody, I don't care if it's not like she had a full plate of food, you know, she didn't have chicken and broccoli and an egg roll. She was eating 2 of them little oranges, and like, that's not going to ruin somebody's appetite. So to me, it was just like, you know, again, I'm not saying intentionally he was going after her, but it was just a dumb comment that just didn't need to be made. Like, them 2 little oranges, why would you, it's not even worthy of a conversation. If I saw my woman, my girl, my wife eating 2 oranges, it's like, what do we even talk about that? Like, go ahead. So I just feel like it was insensitive and unnecessary, especially when you know that, you know, and I'm not saying it's his responsibility to manage her insecurities, but if you know somebody has expressed concerns about their weight, there's just certain places that I think you shouldn't go. And I feel like it's just a comment he shouldn't have made. It's like, she's eating 2 oranges. It's like, what are we talking about? It's like, sometimes some things are better left unsaid. That's what I think. I mean, I just feel like if we're going to talk about him making, you know, it's like, that was stupid. He could have left it out. It just was unnecessary. That's all.
If you listen to it, and hold on, Corey, I don't know if she ever made comments about her weight. I'm not going to take that away from her. She might have, she might not. But if you listen to the conversation, first of all, she went and grabbed something, started putting stuff in the mouth. He started eating it with her. So if he was going to be talking about her weight and all this stuff, he would have started right then for whatever she was eating. Then when she was like, I'm about to eat these cuties or whatever, his next comment was, oh, you might just want to save your appetite because we're going to have a big dinner with a big old lollipop at the end. So meaning we're about to have a whole big old meal with a nice dessert. I want you to be able to eat your food when we go out. Because it sounds like this must be a thing that every time we go out, she's pushing away plates. So it's like, okay, well, if you're sitting here telling me every time we go out, I'm full, well, save your appetite, baby, because I'm about to spend some money on you. I'm about to show you out. You know, so that's all that was. And then he actually said after that, well, I offered you some of my poke bowl, meaning he's trying to feed her. So if he's trying to feed her, that means he cannot be worried about her weight like that. she's the one who said, no, I did not want that, or whatever. It's like, okay, well, in that moment, he could have probably took the hint and was like, well, we can get you something else, but he obviously didn't. So that's where his naivety and immaturity comes in. But at the same time, that's that hot and cold right there. Like, what are you talking about? So he had never tried to stop her from eating or body shamed her in any kind of way. There is no way I can possibly see that in that dress that she had on. She was looking awesome. And he said it. All he was doing the whole time he was up there was, I want to kiss you. He's just like ready to get all up on her and stuff like that at the altar. So I'll leave it there. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah. So for me, I have to respectfully disagree with the fact that he should not have asked her about the cuties. The issue here is definitely Zanab, right? So you're asking him to make all of these adjustments when it's really just natural to ask about anything, really. You know, when you have a partner, especially when you're considered marrying someone, you should be able to talk about anything under the sun. So if you're eating two cuties, and I say, okay, you eat both of those, I mean, it's just a question. You know, let's not make it deeper than what it is. It's just a question of, you want to eat both of those? She said, yeah. Okay. The same thing Jay was just saying. You know, he's preparing her for what was going to happen next. Now people say it in a way where it's like, yo, man, you don't need to be eating nothing. You know, every piece of food you put down, because you're killing yourself right now. You know, if it was something rude or mean, then yeah, I'll side with the rudeness or meanness. I'll side against that. But, you know, just to ask a question as far as what are you eating, if you want to eat this or eat that, I think that should be just a standard. It's a simple question that was taken and blown out of proportion at the reunion. What I don't like, though, I don't like that they didn't play that clip during the actual reunion, because then she would have been exposed. That's what the world needed to see. How was she going to respond once she saw that clip along with all those friends that were supporting her? When all those friends that were supporting her is looking at her like she's crazy now, because, hey, you not only lied to him, you lied to all of us. So I really would have liked to see that reaction video at that time. But I think Netflix did it for a reason. It was a calculated decision. But I think the realness would have came out if they did that.
Not the chat regulating your ice cream eating, Tojo.
Exactly. They treat you like Zanab, but I do need you to go off camera.
Right.
Need you to go.
You're breaking about 4 or 5 rules right now.
Let me eat my popsicle in peace. How you trying to control what I eat? How you gonna try to control what I eat and how I eat?
Tojo, we're curious, but
how you gonna control how I'm eating and what I'm eating?
Should be done in private. I think
that's hella controlling. That's hella controlling. I'm trying to control your image. So I need you to go off camera as you finish that popsicle. I'm gonna suck my popsicle as I want to suck it.
Not the microaggression, Sean. Not the microaggression, Sean.
No, it's not even micro anymore. It's aggression.
I know, it's macroaggression.
It's macro.
Hey, I got a
major.
This is a no-go. Cut it out.
It's been a big thing going on lately on the channel, a big word, and that's been accountability, right? We've been talking about that for the past couple of days, right? So my question to you guys: do you guys feel like the men that did the women wrong, did they show accountability during the reunion? Did you get a sense of any of that, or do you feel like, you know, there was still something left out there on the table that could have been brought up and, you know, took responsibility for?
I think, okay, now I'm really struggling with this lollipop myself, actually, as well.
It's not a lollipop, Seaway. It's a popsicle of some sort.
Ain't this the same thing, right? Oh no, a lollipop.
No, it's not a.
You're right. A lollipop is the.
Y'all getting hypnotized by this. Y'all getting hypnotized. Y'all can't even think straight.
Y'all need to focus. Y'all grown individuals being distracted by a lollipop. Y'all need to focus.
Seaway's the one lost.
Because I was trying to talk and I see him doing all that. I think Bartese showed a level of accountability, not about that blonde, but about some aspects of what he did wrong. I think Cole showed a great amount of accountability even in the face of bold-faced lies. I feel like SK was covered and skirted around anything that he did, so no, it was big zero for him. And Brennan hasn't done anything to take accountability for, not in my opinion. Am I missing anybody?
Matt, but Matt wasn't doing anything either.
Oh, and
no, Matt. Oh yeah, no, hold on. Go
well, Matt didn't take any accountability because the show, to protect Colleen, who looked like, a hostage, they didn't even bring up any of the stuff that he did. I mean, he had a lot to take accountability for, and unless it was edited out, they didn't even ask him about any of his aggressive behavior. So yeah, I would say Matt and SK took zero accountability for pretty much anything. One wasn't asked, and one also really wasn't asked. But I did see some accountability with Bartese and Cole for sure.
Let's go back to Matt, because I watched y'all accountability live, and you guys were saying how men don't want the explanation, but y'all just want, the accountability. Matt gave all explanation up there and took no accountability. He was up there talking about, I know I blew up and this and that and the third and this and that and this happened because of this and that was happening because of that or whatnot, but it was still no accountability on his behalf for how he behaved. Like, seriously. Brennan need to give accountability for going off on the men like he did, and standing up in his woman's pee so long. Cole definitely took some accountability. He even took accountability for the parts that he didn't feel like he actually did. So I give him respect for that, because when the cutie thing and all that, when he sat on it, he sat there, thought about it and everything. He came back, even was tearful. And y'all could say y'all don't believe his tears or whatever and stuff like that, but that man didn't just bust out in tears. He actually sat there and thought about it and was really thinking, like, maybe I did say some things, maybe I did do some things wrong, and apologize for it sincerely, to at least to me. What's that other one? Bartese. I think he was halfway. I mean, their thing is a little tricky anyway, because they still both of them is at fault. So I think he takes some accountability on some ways he did it. He did say he apologized for not, keeping to his word as far as telling her before the altar what his decision was going to be. So he took some there. And SK, I mean, the only thing I feel like, outside of not speaking to her, and like I said, that could be edited and we just didn't see it. The only thing I could say accountability for is that late night phone call that was keeping her up or whatnot, that he was taking from Nigeria, whoever he was talking to then. Yeah, he didn't take none for that one.
Jay, did you see Corey?
Nope, wasn't looking.
Not that I wasn't looking, but I was looking, but I wasn't looking.
No, I actually wasn't.
I wasn't looking either. What he doing?
He was eating some type of ice cream, but trying to say how I guess Kojo should have eaten it.
Oh, how that man eat that banana? He take off a break off a piece, shake it up in his head, and pop it in his mouth.
Exactly.
How you gonna be chewing the ice cream like that?
He was like, nah. He was like,
Kojo, you already on strike.
I don't care.
What you say, Sue?
I said you already on strike too. Mr. Sampson and got you for twerking, and now you on.
I know.
With this lollipop.
You steady gonna call. You talk about me showing my age. You showing your age because you keep calling that popsicle or whatever he's.
Why do I keep calling it a lollipop? Why do I?
He wants it to be a sucker. He wants it to be a sucker instead of an ice cream bar. Like.
Oh dear.
It's a
Listen, twisters are banging. For you guys that don't know what twisters are, it's like twisters are a layer of it's like
what flavor?
Fruit flavored ice
Yeah.
and then you've got like fruit
Milky.
flavored ice cream, and it's and it's like layered.
Oh, so you got like a Italian ice mixed with a gelato, like a.
It's what do they
cream.
call them, Jay? Not like
I'm trying to think of what it was.
It's
no, because that was all creamy.
It's not sherbet, but it's like in that like a creamsicle. It's like a creamsicle.
Yeah, probably that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's like a creamsicle.
That's really toxic masculinity, though. Trying to bite a popsicle, you really ain't got to do that.
He was biting that. That's terrible.
Yeah, you gonna mess up all your teeth.
Tell us, Siwe.
That's a
Don't catch a cold for no reason.
You gotta go rewind and see it because it was hilarious.
I will. Not catch a cold. Not catch a cold. It could.
You get a whole, what is it? A brain freeze? Brain freeze.
You're gonna get a brain freeze, catch a cold.
Nah, but them
whole
cold,
body
when your teeth get cold like that, especially the front teeth, that's ain't nothing like.
You would have been better off just chopping it up and putting it in a bowl and eating it with a fork. Then, if you go,
if you do that, you're you are seriously in trouble. If I see someone do that, they're in trouble.
Or even worse, like melt it and then drink it.
Ew.
That defeats
the whole purpose. Come on. Now we just drinking
That's
juice.
How I know.
That sounds like Kool-Aid at that point.
Right.
At that point, that sounds like somebody you need to stay away from.
Do kids drink Kool-Aid anymore? Did we realize it probably causes type 2 diabetes, or did we stop that? Do kids?
No, it's the sugar causes type 2 diabetes. The sugar. It's the wait, hold on. It's the flavor and the sugar, because certain flavors take way more sugar.
Exactly. The grape and the fruit punch the fruit punch can hold some sugar, boy.
I just want to know, y'all kids drink Kool-Aid still? Do kids still drink Kool-Aid? I need to know.
I mean,
I'll get it with a little packet of lemonade.
Over here, they have ready-made Kool-Aid now as well. So it's like
no, they don't taste that good.
Popeyes is that?
Popeyes it's in the little sippy cups. It's in the little sippy cups for the kids.
I didn't like it.
That's not good. That's not Kool-Aid. That's not Kool-Aid. That's Flavor Aid.
I didn't like it.
One of my great aunts used to make a great Kool-Aid, and we used to be like, "This is that." It was thick. It was. I mean, like,
it was syrup. She made syrup.
Nah, Aunt Julia. Her name was Aunt Julia. Nah, Aunt Julia. Get that great.
She made y'all cold medicine, Sean.
Me.
Sean, she made y'all cold medicine. Remember, they be like a spoon full of sugar.
Exactly. It was thick. I'm like, yo.
I was drinking Robitussin.
Exactly. Give me some ice and water with that.
Oh, that's when it's too much sugar up in it, you got to add a whole bunch of ice and a little bit.
I don't see Kool-Aid no more.
Yeah, it's out here.
People still put their pickles in it.
When I came out, actually, I saw some.
Yeah, they either have the Kool-Aid as a drink or they use it as a bebop, or some people call them freeze cups.
They make the best freeze cups.
Oh yeah, Candy Ladies sell those 25 a pop.
Oh man, I missed that 25 a pop days.
That was before inflation. That was before inflation.
I can't afford them now. She's like $10, baby.
Right.
Sure, you doing it, gay.
What'd you say, Coach? Coach, what in the hell are you going through over there?
What do you say?
See, Samson done got all into this man. Now he don't know that.
The way you sit down, go and do it.
Go away from me.
Gay.
What he giggling about?
It must be an inside for him and Sean.
Silly. I'm being silly. I'm being facetious.
All right.
Sorry, where were we at?
We're done.
What
was that? People were talking about their skills and tongues and stuff, so I don't know how we got here, but
everybody went on mute when he said that.
People used to dump the sugar bag into the Kool-Aid mix. Like, that is...
You know who makes the best Kool-Aid? Church. When you go to the church dinners or the repast after the funeral, and they make a punch with the Kool-Aid, they put some ginger ale in the punch, that whole 5-pound bag of sugar.
It's a 7-Up.
Today's kids ain't even gonna know because they ain't going to church.
Mm-hmm.
These kids ain't even in church.
Yeah, everybody got diabetes now. Thank you, little ladies at the church.
Yep.
And
That punch
emos,
be hitting.
diabetes and
You see
emos.
somebody making Kool-Aid with a measuring cup, don't drink it. They don't know what
No,
they're doing.
absolutely not.
Don't drink that. You have to eyeball that.
How they
Yeah,
do it
I
on what was that Kid and Play? What was that movie where she just kept pouring it? She was like, you just gotta keep.
Yeah,
He just
you gotta
kept
eyeball
pouring and
that
Keep
thing.
pouring.
going. See, they know. They said in the chat, the church food bangs. That's right. Oh, touche. And mix it with lemonade. Yes, that's. And then they try to fool us and they squeeze a lemon in there. That ain't real lemonade. It's just the powdered lemonade with some lemon you just squeezed in there.
No,
That is.
it's the pink lemonade mix. Do you mix the fruit punch with the pink lemonade?
That's that country time.
Oh, that country
Oh,
time
Mark,
be
that's right.
knocking.
They put the frozen
That country time.
sherbet with the
Yeah.
ginger ale. Woo! That used to slap. That's right. I forgot about the frozen sherbet in the punch.
And
All right, now I'm hungry. I'm about to get my food. Y'all tripping.
That's exactly why we be acting surprised when we go to the doctor and we find out we pre-diabetic.
Type
Here she
2.
You done forgot about all them times you done drunk them cups, huh?
Yeah. And then you go to the doctor and they said, no, after pre, you just diabetic.
You all the way.
You're all the way.
We got to take a leg.
The
Like, what?
insulin, you go.
People be like, yeah, black people are more susceptible to type 2 diabetes. It ain't a mystery. It's because we have generations of freaking buckets of Kool-Aid. That's the reason. That's the genetic reason. Oh, y'all want me to be quiet?
Not just buckets of Kool-Aid. They put sugar in all pieces of your food too. You got sugar in the yam, sugar in the green, sugar on the turkey leg.
Right. Let's talk about that. Don't just be on Kool-Aid.
Just put a little bit of sugar on it, baby. It'll be all right.
You're right. And the salt.
All right.
Well, we know we talking
Still
about
not on
next
mute, Kojo, but all right, we done. I'm about to eat. Y'all done made me hungry. Now I need some Kool-Aid.
All right,
Jay,
baby.
look, they need to get on you like they got on Sean. What time is it? 9:49.
Well, listen, I ate my dinner before 10.
He said 10 is the goal. 10 is the goal.
Yeah,
Right?
10 is the goal. That's it. And it's 3 hours later.
I just saw in the comments sugar in spaghetti. Yeah,
I can't stand it either. I do not like sugar in my. I don't like sweet spaghetti. I mean, if you're making homemade sauce, you need a little bit of sugar. But like, my auntie makes a sugary spaghetti, and she just thinks it's so good, and I'm just like,
I don't know.
because she makes it spicy and sugary. That's nasty.
Yeah, no.
Nothing about that.
For that same reason you were saying it, Seaway, that's why she do it, because she say her acid reflux. But I'm just like, no, you can keep that.
Look, I'm eating healthy for this Thanksgiving. I'm not eating all that bull crap. I've come too far by faith.
Sean, give us a benediction.
I was like, I want another popsicle. I'm done.
He said, I want another twister. I want another twister.
Another twister.
I want to eat my in peace.
Look, Kojo, I'll eat a popsicle with you, baby. Don't worry. I'll eat a popsicle with you, baby. Don't worry.
Jay, I already told you. You keep playing in my face.
I'm hungry. Baby. I'm hungry. Don't pay me in the kitchen. I talk crazy when I'm hungry.
Sean, give us a benediction.
To benediction we go, huh? So, I think we have learned how to tussle in peace. You know, I think these love is blind couples have shown us love is truly not blind. We need to see. We need to love with our eyes wide open. And good luck to Alexa and Brennan. I have to whisper that name. But good luck to them. Wishing them the best. I don't know. I think it's, always upside down when there's such a dynamic of power imbalance. But, they like it. I love it. I wish them the best. If he's happy with changing his religion and getting a piece of a closet in the second bedroom, then, good for him. He likes it. Go off, bro. He's got his prize and his princess. I only wish them the best. Then we have SK and Raven. Some say SK is a dark arts, king. Some say, listen, the guy just, he knows his worth and he's taking his time and making thorough decisions before he jumps the broom. I don't know. Is Raven the prize? That remains to be seen. But hopefully there is no manipulation and they're truly, giving their relationship a good go at it and seeing if it works out. Let's see where they go, and good luck and God bless to the both of them. Matt and Colleen, please free yourself, sister. It looks like there's some things underneath the surface. We hope not. But if there are, please don't be silenced. Don't cover your voice. Don't shelter your voice. Don't tiptoe. Don't ballerina two-step pirouette around issues, please. If they are, speak it, say it, and don't be afraid. And Matt, please, if you haven't healed, heal. Everybody's not out to get you. And if that's your feeling, then you've got work to do. Then we've got who am I forgetting? Oh, Zanab and Cole. I think, oh boy. So this is a hotly debated one. Some think Cole is the victim in this here scenario. We definitely don't think Cole intentionally was looking to hurt Zanab. I don't think anybody thinks that. Hopefully Cole learns to choose his words wisely, choose his words better. For Zanab, please don't be the tale of two cities. Say it like it is. If you like the brother, you love the brother, love the brother. For people that are in relationships, be honest. Also heal. Don't hold anybody accountable for your insecurities. If you are insecure, do the work to become secure, but don't hold people hostage to your insecurities. And please, don't blindside people. Don't railroad people. Be honest, be upfront. Last but not least, Batista, but now I forgot what his name is. What is his name? Batiste, is that his name? I think.
Bartese.
I'm sorry. What is it? Bartese. Oh yes, Bartese and Nancy, brother. Please. If you don't want her, don't talk to her. Please don't play games with ladies. Be honest, be upfront. If you're interested, be interested. Show your interest. Don't talk out of both sides of your neck. If you want an older woman, show that you are worthy of her, right? Any woman in a relationship, if she bears herself to you, be honest, be true to who you are. If you don't want her, don't drag her through the mud, and for the ladies, Nancy, please, if you see the signs, read the signs, understand the signs. Don't ignore the signs, because when you ignore the signs, then the road's going to run over you versus you driving through the roads. So, that's that. And I'll toss it back to you, Code.
Thank you very much, Sean. Appreciate that. Listen, audience members, thank you so much for joining us today. Listen, it's been a great tussle for 4 hours. I didn't know we were going to go for 4 hours, but we had some chop-ups and talks and had some fun in between that time as well. Listen, we'll be back here again tomorrow night for Married at First Sight Reunion Part 2. I guess that's the last live about Married at First Sight for this year, because I think the next season is going to be in January when they come back for the next season. So we'll get ourselves prepared for that. But for the rest of you, I appreciate you guys and ladies as well turning up. Oh, crazy. That's the ice cream chopping up with me. Appreciate you turning up, keeping it respectful in the chat. Let's continue that same vein and same fashion. And we'll see you guys on Thursday. And then we'll see you guys next on Sunday. Because Sunday we'll have the men's panel. And I will not make the same mistake twice. It's the men's panel, okay? And then we'll be back on Tuesday night, which is an open panel. Both women and men can apply. You should see the post on our community page tonight. I've already put it on the Patreon, so the patrons get it first, where you guys can actually apply and say if you want to be on a panel that day, because I know last week we had a lot of people wanting to apply to be on during the show. So can't wait to talk some more conversations, break down some more stuff, get ready for more great content coming your way through these guys and others as well. Okay, so Andrea says she's there this Sunday. Love that. All right, appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded. Oh, don't forget, if you want to continue the conversation, you want to be involved still, you know what, you don't want to go to bed just yet, you still got some energy, then my people, my friends, my uncles, my aunties, my cousins, my nephews and my nieces, my sisters and my brothers, okay, we got a Discord here as well. Make sure you join the Discord. Okay, I think I've got 2 more spaces for those of you who are mods. I will do it for free, so you can join the Discord. I got 2 more spaces. Those who email me first, you can see the email in the chat. I'll put it in. We'll get it. So first come, first serve. Please don't email me after the spaces are gone, because I'll just tell you straight, you got to pay. It is what it is. So first come, first serve. If you're a mod, I got 2 more spaces. You can join the Discord for free. And but the rest of you gotta pay. Okay, so make sure you join the Patreon, get involved with the Discord, start getting involved in some of these conversations that we're having as well behind the scenes. Much love and appreciation, guys. We'll see you again on tomorrow night as well, and on Friday actually. Sorry, because we have Brandy rescheduled for Friday as well. So much love, appreciation, guys. We'll see you again very, very soon.